Hey everybody, welcome to the Wednesday afternoon live stream. We're going to do Q&A today to kind of catch up from last week's marathon live stream adventure where I live streamed 7 days of working with the band Rehab. We'll get to that in a minute. First off, Kit is here. Yeah, and Harper's here. Actually, Harper, I can't get you on the camera. I don't have the right camera going right now. Here, walk over here. Say hi. Harper's here. Dodging around my camera gear because I'm in the middle of making a video. Yeah, I don't know if Casey's here yet. And yeah, so last week, just for anybody who doesn't know, I do these fly-on-the-wall live streams where I just have my cameras going and I show my sessions. There's not a whole lot of like interaction, not a ton. Like Crystal, Kit's over there modding and talking to people in chat, but I'm just working. And we decided to live stream 7 days in the studio with the band Rehab. One of those streams went over 14 hours. Most of them were around 10. We had one, I think, as short as maybe 7.5 or 8, but they're all on there. And a lot of people were asking questions that I wasn't able to get to because, you know, I was working. And I told everybody, well, we'll come back and we'll do a Q&A so people could catch up on questions. Oh, Casey's there. Oh, Casey, everybody say hi to Casey. Do we not have Casey button there? Yeah, there's Casey. What's up? Appreciate it, Casey. I was going to play a little bit. I've got like a little video here just to kind of talk about. Hold on, let me do this. Yeah, here's a little video I made just about getting ready to do this session. Let's go. Oh, here we go. Well, this is what's about to happen.
Doing our whole album live.
The whole album is going to be done here.
I'm talking about we're going to display the whole album being made as we sit here.
Here we go. I've been doing these fly-on-the-wall live streams that sometimes go as long as 8 hours, and they're a chance for anyone to sit in on some of my recording sessions. However, I've never live streamed the making of a full album for several days in a row. But when Danny Boone, who's in the band Rehab, said he wanted to do it, I just couldn't say no. So starting tomorrow, July 13th, and continuing through the following Saturday, we will be live streaming every day as we create and record this album. You will witness moments of wonder and inspiration, the struggle and the frustration of the creative process, unpredictable moments, and true genius at work. So look for Freaking Out with Billy Hume on YouTube or Billy Hume on Twitch. Hope to see you there. Yeah, so that was like, that was before we started, and then I made another one. I was actually able to make a short the second day. So here's the one from the second day. I can't believe I actually got this done. Hold on. Let's watch this one, then we'll get to questions. Well, we live streamed for over 10 hours yesterday and about 12 hours the day before that. And the reason we're doing that is because I'm working on an album for the band Rehab. They're in here all week, and I figured, well, let me just live stream the whole damn thing. Yesterday, we recorded drums and bass on a couple songs and wrote and recorded a whole brand new song during the live stream. We'll be starting a stream later on today at some point and working on a new song, and everybody's been asking me to do a microphone tour of how I'm miking up the drums up in my big living room. So make sure to check me out. Come to my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel where I'm streaming simultaneously. See you there. Yeah, and we did actually do the, eventually do the drum show and tell or whatever you would call it. So, and I actually have some other clips from the live stream from the last night. I'm going to play those later on today during this live stream. But first, I think I should get to some questions because I see that there's some up here already. Let's see.
Yeah, Ray Gun Radio Star is saying, and there's a series of questions here. What did you learn? And what would you do differently? What were some memorable moments for you? What was the most difficult day to get through? And how much work is yet to be done?
Okay, so what did I learn? I learned that trying to live stream on Facebook at the same time is a pain in the butt. I was trying to do it today, and I still don't think it's working. Actually, let me go ahead and stop this thing. I don't think... Did you check my Facebook? I don't think it worked. There's a very specific order. We were able to send the stream out to the Rehab Facebook page 3 days, but if I don't do it in a very specific order, and so like right before I started the stream, I thought I had the order right, and I did one thing wrong, and once I miss it, I can't go back and redo it unless I stop all of this and I have to redo everything. And it's like, fuck it. So I learned that. I also learned some stuff about the studio. Like I've been setting up the studio a lot more intensely in the last year or so because, so this isn't my home, and I used to have a studio down in Norcross. I mean, I still have it, the Zone where I worked for years, and then I built this place out kind of more with the intention of like mixing and working on some of my own music, but I need to have the ability to record other musicians for my stuff, and then it kind of kept growing and growing, and now with this channel and doing the live stream sessions and all that, it's really grown. So I ended up at some point bringing everything I had at the other studio up here. That was a couple of years ago. And then I put this mixer in. This got put in last year, and I have a big video about that. So the studio keeps expanding. And going into this live stream, I had a lot of things that I wanted to do with the band, but I'd forgotten how much I'd wired up my old studio. I had that sucker wired up perfectly. So going in this, I was like, oh, I got to do some other stuff. So long story short, I had to run another snake upstairs, and just kind of typical for me, kind of pushing beyond my comfort zone and being, my ambitions exceed my abilities most of the time. So at the last minute, like the last couple days before the band came in, I'm scrambling. So I'm running an extra snake upstairs. I figured out some other things I got to do. Also running extra USB cables and HDMI cables upstairs for cameras and all that, and headphone mixes. So it's like now I realize I got to run some more cabling up there. I'm going to put a B room upstairs right above the control room here because I got a quote unquote dining room, which is just filled with boxes now, so that I can have an engineer helping me in a better situation because everybody's sitting in the room right here. And I got Kit sitting here, which is cool, and I like that, but during the live stream with the band, I had her upstairs in the same room where the drummer was. So when he was drumming, yeah, it was kind of a pain in the butt. She had headphones on, but
and earplug.
The fact that she was in another room the rest of the time, in many ways, helped her and me in the way we can kind of throw the ball back and forth with who's handling the live stream. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's kind of hard to explain without getting too technical. What would I have done differently? I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, it actually went really damn good. I mean, there were a couple little snags here and there. I was really proud. I didn't totally freak out. I had no freak out moment. In spite of all the scrambling at the last minute, everything went surprisingly well. The things I would have done differently is I probably would have drilled a hole through and run this 12-channel snake up there. I had to run it up the stairs and around through the kitchen and all that. So I'm going to do that. But actually, I was pretty surprised. I thought it went well. What were some of the memorable moments for you? Definitely some of the songwriting stuff. It was like Danny and I had done some pre-production. I went down there and we worked on a couple things at his place about a month or so earlier. And then he came up here, I guess a week or two before the band came in. We did some more, worked out some ideas then, kind of had some rough ideas, but I wanted to make sure we had more going in to start the album. And I was kind of a little worried about it because, I mean, I had a couple ideas, but I already started 2 songs, and there's other people involved. I got to leave space for them. What was really cool was that Josh and Nate came in, Josh, the drummer, and Nate, the bass player, came in with some great ideas, and there were just some real magical moments, like especially Josh, who I know is a great drummer, and I'd worked with him before. I didn't know that he played guitar. And he said, I got some guitar songs, and I figured, he just kind of strummed something. And he starts strumming this stuff, and I was like, it was really good. It was like I ended up doing the click track and having him play the guitar part twice, doubling it, and originally that was going to be like the scratch track. And I had to do a couple punch-ins, but he played it so well, it's the final acoustic guitar part. And then there was another day, every day I was like, we need another song. We have to get a song done today, at least all the music, and at least get, a basic arrangement down and have Danny at least start writing on it. And so Josh started laying down some strumming parts, and and we spent a while on all these different parts. And I thought, okay, one can be a chorus, one can be a verse, one can be whatever. And I'm going to go upstairs. This is during the live stream. And I go upstairs to get a cup of coffee or something like that. As I'm walking out of the room, he takes the acoustic guitar and lays it on his lap and starts tapping on the neck. And Nate was sitting here. We both were like, wait, what's that? He said, oh, I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun to tap on it. I'm like, hold on. That's the song. Like, all that other stuff was cool, and it turned into a song. That was amazing. And then, of course, one of the most memorable moments was something that happened at the very end of the last night. On the 7th day of streaming, it was split into 2 parts. We took a dinner break and went out to a restaurant, and everybody had a dinner together and good time. Then we came back and started up the stream again. And then really late at night, I don't know what time it was, we were saying goodbye, and I thought, I should have everybody in the band say something. Nate showed his bass guitar. I had Josh talk, and Danny talked. I'm going to show some clips of Josh and Danny talking, and it was really memorable because it was cool hearing what Josh had to say. He's always got cool things to say about drumming. He thinks very deeply about it. I'm going to show some of that. But what's interesting to me was what Danny said, because I've known Danny for years and worked with him for years, but I've never asked him certain questions. And I asked him about how he comes up with some of his rhymes and all that, and he had some things to say that kind of blew my mind. It was at the end of a long day, so we're all kind of a little tired, and it was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. When he comes back in, I'm going to see if I can get him to talk about it again. That was amazing. What was the most difficult day for you to get through? All of them. There was, Crystal, what day was it? It was the second to last day where we were partway through the day, and they were doing something down here, and I was kind of let the cameras run. I walked upstairs, and I walked up to it, and I'm just like, I don't know. I was so tired. It's I could lay down and go to sleep right now because I hardly slept the whole week. I think one night I got 5 hours of sleep, but every other night was 3 to 4 hours because we were working late. I had to get up early, get thumbnails ready, get the streams ready, do some editing, make sure the freaking studio's working and all that. Plus, I was so hyped up, I would wake up before my alarm. So I think it was the second to last day, Kit.
I don't recall. That might have been the night that went into fever dream territory where you guys were looking at videos from 60s artists.
It got really weird that one night because I was we were looking at Carpenter videos. We started talking about Captain and Tennille. I don't know what. That was really weird. And then let's see. How much work is yet to be done on the album? I'm not totally sure. I've got a rough idea. I've got to actually go through each song. Some of them are more or less kind of done. I'm going to put harmonies on a couple of them. There's one I'm going to put some strings on. There's a couple. There's one that all we did is a basic drum beat, and we had the musicians play on it, but I have to go through and edit it up because it came from Dakota, which is one of Danny's friends who helps him on making songs and all that. That one, I have to kind of work on that one, and Danny has no lyrics or vocals for it yet. There's another song that needs a hook. I've got to put guitars on a couple songs. So yeah, I got to make a spreadsheet. But I think most of the work is done as far as tracking. No mixing, of course, although I'm kind of mixing as I'm going. So it's kind of hard to say. I'd say, I don't even want to, if I say 60%, no, if I say there's 40% left done to do or 30%, somehow it'll be more. So I don't want to say that, although I just said it. But yeah, that's where we're at on that. Well, question. So Soul Machine says, will all musicians have those cool wristbands next time? Oh, the wristbands. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, maybe they will. I don't know if everybody's coming back. That's what I got to find out.
You might not need everyone.
I might only need Danny to come back, but Josh may want to come back. Josh lives in Nashville, so it's kind of, it's a lot for him to get down here. He may want to come. So I don't know. It may only need to be Danny, but if other people want to come, that's totally fine. Let's see, what else do we have?
Do you get paid overtime for over 8 hours?
No. I'm charging by the song. In these kind of situations, I don't charge by the hour. Now, if somebody's hiring me to engineer, I need you to record some vocals, or I need you to do that. That's by the hour. When I'm producing, it's all in, and I do that because I don't want anyone to feel constrained. Plus, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, and I'm not going to I don't ever want anybody thinking he just came up with this bizarre string part that he's got to work out for 3 hours because he wants to run the bill up. I don't want anybody ever having that to be a reason why not to do, because it's expensive, and when I'm charging by the hour, that can add up. So I just charge by the song.
There's a question: would you be doing any more of these fly on the wall recording sessions? And do you think you might ever explore a country music recording session?
I mean, yeah, I'll be doing more of these for sure. I mean, I will be doing some of the stuff that I'm doing by myself over the next because it's going to be like 2 or 3 weeks till Danny comes in to the next round. I've got to get some stuff done. I'll probably live stream some of that. It won't be quite the same because I'll just be here by myself. I can probably talk some more. I don't have any more flying besides
more rehab.
The next rehab thing. I don't have any more artists scheduled now, but I have some that I'm planning on doing, and I don't want to talk about it just yet. There's a lot of balls in the air and pokers in the fire at the same time right now. But there's going to be more. As to whether the country or whatever, I don't have any country ones in mind right now. It might happen. But there's a lot to figure out. There's a lot of balls in the air is all I can say.
So this question is a bit change of subject. Rick Beato made a video about AI, lamenting how AI is now used to replace creativity. But for me, the bigger issue is that music is already filled with artists who are copying each other without AI's involvement.
But what was the question?
I think they're just looking for more, your take on that.
I don't know. Rick makes videos about all sorts of things. I made a video about AI. I mean, it's just like whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna look for that.
It's like I am worried about AI. AI, I think, is just like it's kind of messed up. I feel like it's ripping people off. I think they're probably breaking copyright laws because they scrape other people's work and all that kind of stuff. But right now we live in a world where we have massive corporations, a handful of massive corporations that are controlling a bunch of stuff, and the power has kind of gone out of people's hands. So it's like we'll see what happens with that. But I look at it like this. To me, it's like I kind of look at it for now. Who knows what will happen in the future? But I look at it for now. Sorry, I got to put on my magic ring here. I just realized I don't have my Buddha ring on. I look at it more like it's like suddenly there's this new genre, right? An example would be like, not exactly the same. I'm not comparing rap to AI by any means, but here's how you think about it. When rap became very popular, it was like getting on the Billboard charts, because before that, it wasn't. A lot of my friends that were in the rock and roll saw it as this threat. They're all freaked out about it. And of course, I was like, yeah, I like these guys. I'm going to work with them. But it was just another person or another thing to compete with, right? I feel like AI will kind of be the same way in a very generalized sort of way. There will be people out there making AI music and who will, won't know if it's real or not. And to me, it's just something else you got to compete with. It can certainly do it quicker, that's for sure. But in the end, it's like some people aren't going to care, and they're going to listen to the radio or whatever, wherever they're at, the grocery store, and they listen to music. And if they like it, they like it. And there's nothing I can do about that. But I'm going to keep making what I'm going to make. I don't know. I just don't even think about it too much. There's all these things people ask about that I don't think about because I kind of don't give a shit. It's kind of like I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it as well as I can, and I'm just going to move forward. I hope that there's some politicians or people with power that'll kind of put some brakes on it, because I think that YouTube and other places are not going to pay royalties on AI music. But I also heard this thing, and I don't know if it's true or not, that the Grammys are going to allow songs that are using AI in the creation of the music to be, eligible for a Grammy. So
really?
Like, yeah, I don't know if that's, but it's just, I saw it on the internet, and
you saw it on
I heard
the
this
internet.
thing where I shouldn't believe everything I see on the internet. So
Really?
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whatever. I don't care.
Another slight change of subject. Is it normal to have a prolonged time in life when you just can't feel the music as good as before, which affected negatively your production process and quality? And if that is the case, how did you bounce back?
I never stopped feeling it. But there were some times, like with writing, because I was out of practice, because I was mixing. There was a period of time I just mixed for years. Got out of the habit of writing. I've always felt it. I mean, there's definitely been ups and downs with that stuff. But yeah, Kit, I mean, I don't know. Kit, do you think that I don't even know. I'm so deep inside it. Sometimes I'm not kind of aware.
I mean, on the one hand, the answer is definitely yes with your own music because of things that might be going on in your life. And, there have definitely been times where you just kind of weren't feeling it. Your head wasn't in that space. You weren't feeling incredibly creative. As far as like production work, I think you just sort of like make yourself do it. I don't even know.
I do want to bring up something. Rick had something out recently. It was a video or maybe it was an interview, and he's saying how people lose their creativity after 30. And he's like, oh, the Beatles are. He's like, whatever, man. I'm making better music now than I've ever made in my life. I do go back and listen to stuff I did in high school and all that, and it's pretty cool. But I don't know. I feel like I'm only getting better. But I'm always challenging myself. So let's see. I did see something from Tyler. Where'd it go?
Oh, well, Tyler was asking about, if you're using the zone, and if you're not, would you be interested in renting it out? He'll talk to you later. Obviously, we've got somebody already in the zone.
Yeah, the zone is in another house, and I've got Darren Stanley living there now. I've had other artists live there and offered them like the opportunity to use the space, and they kind of dabbled around. I did it, Darren. He took that sucker over. It's partially why I had to bring more. He loaded in so much gear because he's got tons of gear and tons of drums, and like, oh, you guys are serious. So they're like, he's over there like making records and producing people and bringing in like some legendary musicians. I'm like, oh, so I can get in there to mix, but I think he's got that. I don't know if I can get in there again. But
it's pretty cool, though. It's nice to
it.
see the space getting such good use.
Yeah, the Ansley Stewart Band. Although, did they ever come up with a band name? Oh, it's Ansley Stewart and the Hold.
Oh, is it?
I think that's what it is. All great musicians, cool band. So yeah, but they're kind of renting it with the house now. So I can't really. I go in there to mix sometimes because I like that room, but that's kind of it.
When you are asked to mix a song and you hear it for the first time and you go, oh my God, what is this? I really don't like it. What do you do in such a position?
Well, I'm at a place where I don't take things I don't like, mainly because I found out that I can't do a good job if I can't find something that I like about the music. I have to like, oh, you can go to my screen alone. With chat is fine. If I don't find something I can love in something, or something that's a challenge, or something that I kind of want to figure out, I can't do it. I've got to find something that I love in it. And I do get things sometimes that are kind of terrible, like either like technically speaking, or maybe there's something songwriting in it. But I always find something if I love in it. And to be honest with you, sometimes it's just about the people. I've gotten stuff I don't necessarily like the music, but I like the people and I believe in them. So I'm going to find something in it that I can like, okay, let me see if I can figure this out.
I actually want to say too, I think that's one of your greatest strengths is that you love so many different kinds of music. Your tastes are so varied and your experience is varied that you can, in almost anything, find something that you think is really cool about it.
Yeah, like when I started rap music, getting into that, I mainly got into it out of curiosity and because my air conditioner repairman told me I should do it. Long story. But I kept doing it because I like the people. To be honest with you, I didn't take it that seriously. I knew that they were serious, so I kind of figured, okay, I'm missing something here. But I just really liked all the people. Like I just loved the Bone Crusher and the Yin Yang Twins and all those cats and Little John. I was like, man, this is fun. And to be honest with you, a lot of it was the first time in my life I ever felt like I was accepted somewhere. I've never been accepted like that. They were just like, I was different from all those cats, and they didn't always understand everything I was doing, but they accepted me. And there was this feeling of like, I could belong, and I could be myself without ridicule. That's another thing. A lot of people, because I'm kind of weird, right? So people make fun of me, but they would make fun of me, but in a very kind of funny way, like I'm in on the joke, right? I don't even know how to describe it. And then I got into it, and I started to really get into like, oh, okay, I get this now. So that was, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I could work on any kind of music if I can contribute something to it. I feel like I got something offered to it, or if I'm just interested in having a challenge, and also if I like the people. Let's see.
Paul Brian Bell was asking, do you keep a roster of session musicians that you tend to use often? I'm a piano B3 player, over 30 years of experience. Basically, well, Paul, we've got a number of people that Billy works with on the regular.
Yeah, but right now I'm kind of short on the B3 players, at least the ones I want to use.
Yeah, but
the guy that, oh my God, what was his name? Older dude. Oh my God. The bald dude, the crazy guy. Oh my God. I don't even know if he's around anymore. I mean, if you're in Atlanta, that'd be easy. If not, it'd be something we'd have to do through mail. There's a couple guys in Nashville I've used. I mean, as far as B3 players, like hit me up and send me some stuff. It's not often, but when I need it, I need it. I can kind of fake that to some degree with plugins, but I would like to have a good B3 player once in a while I could send something to and just, hey, can you put me a couple takes, give me 2 or 3 takes, and you know, I really miss. We used the guy that played with was it Jacob Dylan or whatever? He's kind of famous B3 player. He was in Nashville, and we'd send the stuff off. It was another project I was working on. He'd send back 3 takes, and they're all completely different, but I could edit it. And, you know, he's constantly moving the drawbars, and it was this thing that flooded. Oh, my God. A good B3 player I could really use. I've got a couple bass players I like to use, a couple drummers. But, I mean, it's not like I got a roster. I just know people, and when a project comes up, I go, oh, so-and-so be. I just start making phone calls.
He does have a roster. It's just in his head. Yeah,
it's in my head. But, yeah, I mean, send us an email to contact Billy Hume with your information. If you got some links of some videos or music you've worked on or whatever, because that's a hard thing to find, a good B3 player.
Tylo's saying that the Grammys said no to AI music.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Maybe I think it was just a bullshit post.
Yeah, you can't just repeat things you read on the internet.
I never do that.
Ever. All right. Yeah. So what else, guys? Oh, I'm not in all chat. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I already
a
saw that
Chapman
question.
stick player?
Whoa. Who plays that?
Tylo said if you need one, let him know.
You know, the weird thing is I don't even know enough about that instrument to know whether I would need it or not. I mean, it's kind of like a bass. I know what it is. And I've seen Tony Levin play one. But I don't know enough about, like, how would you... I've probably heard it not known. I just don't know much about it. Be interesting to try out.
Do you eat snacks during sessions while the band is in the room, or is
yeah.
that a no-no?
Fuck no. When I'm hungry, I eat.
Mm-hmm.
I eat. Because I will tell you, man, I work, and I don't... When I'm by myself, I take more breaks. But if there's a band here, I have this bad habit of forgetting to take breaks. So, yeah, we eat. We bring down food. I'm sure y'all saw the live stream. Kit was bringing down food. The worst thing is, like, I'll forget, especially during live streams. I'm sitting here chewing on the microphone. It's like, I can hear you chewing. No, we eat. It's got to go. We don't stop. I mean, we did take that one dinner break, but that's actually the only time we actually really took a break. Other people are taking a break. I'm not taking a break, so I'm going to just keep eating.
Besides, it's much better for Billy to eat in the studio than to be hungry because...
Yeah, you don't want to be around me when I'm hungry. Bad idea. Terrible.
Zambi says, so I came here with a couple questions in mind. I'm a complete newbie when it comes to music. Recently, I've been wanting to start producing and doing other stuff, and I keep being told to learn music theory. And I'm wondering, really, how important is that, and what is its purpose? Because my own understanding of it feels limited and short-sighted.
I mean, it's a good thing to learn. I don't think you should stop yourself from moving ahead. I think it's more important to learn how to play an instrument. You'll figure out some theory as you get into it because you got to learn some basic stuff, right? The interesting thing is I've worked with people, mostly in the urban world, that were making music without any idea about music theory, right? I guess, I mean, they could tell these chords go together well. It sounds good, right? And there'd be so many times that I'd be listening to something back when I was mainly like mixing, or I was doing a lot of like recording sessions as an engineer. I don't really do that anymore except on my own stuff. But sitting there engineering, it's not my role to say anything. So people would come in, they start laying down tracks, and I'm like, that's wrong. That's not the right note in the harmony, or that keyboard part's out of key. Like that note is not in the right key. And they'll figure it out. I'm not going to say anything because it's not my role to say anything, right? Unless the relationship's right. But as an engineer, I'm just supposed to record it. But what would be interesting is like sometimes I'd get further into it and I'd go, oh, that's cool. Because here's the thing about music theory, and you should learn it, but I think that sometimes that people that know so much theory start thinking about rules ahead of time. They'll get an idea and as soon as they get into it, like, oh, I can't do that because it's blah, 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 blah. There's some reason why you're not supposed to do it. Whereas other people are like, I don't know and I don't care, I'm going to try it anyway. Sometimes it sounds like crap, but sometimes it leads you down pathways that you might not go down because you didn't know you shouldn't go down that path. This path is better than that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but you should learn how to play an instrument. Probably keyboards would be the best thing, but if you could learn to play a little guitar, you don't have to be great. You just got to be able to get through some basic songs and stuff like that, and then just learn some basic stuff. You don't have to be an expert at it. I know how to put harmonies together. Pretty good at it. I could know more. But like I said, I've seen people who don't know crap about it just make some amazing music. And before I go on, Zambi, just start doing it. Just start.
Christian Grogard was saying there's a great video on YouTube with Larry Goldings teaching B3 to a pianist. Oh, this is a comment, not a question. At the end, he says, I've heard a lot of organ players in my life, and you're definitely one of them.
Okay.
Anyway.
Oh, wait, is that the guy that commented?
No, this was something else. I thought it was a question, so I started reading it.
What you're saying is the guy talking about, so the person said, do you need a B3 player? Is this person now talking about the dude who made that comment? Is that what's going on?
Different person.
Is there evidence of this guy playing?
No, we're on a completely different...
Okay. Well, he said that you're a good... Who's he talking about when he says you're a good B3 player?
There's a YouTube video with Larry Goldings who's teaching.
Yeah.
And at the end, Larry Goldings says to the student...
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from last week. I'm not 100% here.
Okay, so Roaming Tortoise has a question. How do I handle this situation? My friend sends me tracks with drums and guitar and wants me to add keys. If I put too much keys on it, he won't respond back at all. But if I barely put anything on it, it's okay. I mean, that just sounds to me like you need to communicate with your friend on what they want.
Wait, read it again? I was thinking about pirate ships again. Go on.
Okay. Roaming Tortoise is asking, how do I handle this situation? My friend sends me tracks with drums and guitar and wants me to add keys. If I put too much keys on it, he won't respond back at all. If I barely put any on, it's okay. So what I was saying is that it sounds like you just need to communicate with your friend about what they want, what they're looking for.
Well, the other thing's weird to me is like, why don't they respond? You would think they'd say, hey, there's too many keys on there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's kind of
poor communication, I think, is what's going on here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Sub Mellow says something interesting. He says, that's why I called music theory and not music fact. I've got a friend who's a music teacher in guitar and piano in Nashville, David Fisher, who actually kind of got me into the studio business in a roundabout way. And I was talking to him on the phone a few months ago, and I said something about music theory, and he says, what is music theory? And I was like, oh, it's like, I was trying to define it. He said, it's music, it's definitions. Music theory is just, I think that's the word he used, definitions. People think about music theory, and I think that they think it's like some sort of like constitution or some law or something like that. It's music, it's facts. Music theory, not fact. But he called it music no definition. He had a word for it, but it was kind of more along the lines of definition. I thought, that's kind of a cool way to do it. But, you got to also consider that in the Western scale, there's only 12 notes, where there's other types of music out there that has extra notes in between that we don't use. We wouldn't even understand it if we heard it. So,
Raygun Radio Star was asking, how often do you hear new songs that feel like, wait, this is a follow-up. How often do you run into new artists that are really innovative? And how often do you hear new songs that feel like new classics versus just being interesting?
I mean, I never really measured it, like how often. And it's kind of hard for me to answer that because of the way I live my life. Most people, I think, have a certain set amount of time that they listen to music. They're in the car, so they listen to music, or they're at home and all that. And I'll go through periods of time where the only music I'm listening to is the shit I'm working on. Like with Rehab, I'm going to be listening to a lot of Rehab for the next few weeks because I've got more work to do. I also go through these periods where I just kind of into something. Like I remember for a period, I wasn't even working on country music, but I got really into listening to country music for a few years. It was back in the 90s. But then when I was working on country music, I wasn't listening to country music. I don't know. It's hard to explain. And I kind of get in and out of listening to music. And I don't worry about it so much. I'm not necessarily, like back when I was doing a lot of major label work, I had to spend a lot of time listening to pop radio, kind of make sure I was keeping on. I don't really worry about that now because the world's different. I just listen to what I want to listen to. Or if a client, this client coming in and they're talking about something, I'll go listen to that. There are people out there doing innovative stuff. People will argue with me about that because there's only so many. No, everybody's just repeating everything. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But people are blending genres and doing weird things that are a little different and odd that I find innovative in their own way. I've got these videos that I've been making about artists that people refer to me. They're called I Listened to Your Favorite Bands and Here's What I Thought, or something like that. I think I've done 3 or 4 of them. And they all came about because I made this video called Why Does Music All Sound the Same? Blah, 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 blah. Like, old man yelling at the clouds. And I got slammed with a bunch of comments like, you're just not listening to music. Check out this band. Check out this band. Like, oh, you just listen. So I started and I was like, oh, wow, this is really, really cool. So I started diving into it. And I'd say like somebody like Ren from Wales, R-E-N, I'd say he raps and shit, but he also sings and plays guitar and plays classical guitar. Blows my mind. Like the way he puts things together and his talent, and that has been like, And then I did a video where I talked about all these Japanese female heavy metal bands. Are they innovative? In a way, I'd say no, because they're kind of like redoing music that's been around for years. However, I find that their energy and enthusiasm and like, I don't know, I just feel like, and I'm not an expert on metal in America, so I could be wrong about it. It's not like I'm going out and exploring this shit, but there's like this freshness to what they're doing that I just find really energizing. And they're huge. They're like worldwide famous, touring around the world. And in America, nobody pays any attention. Is that innovative? I don't know, but it's innovative to me in a way that they've kind of taken this genre and made it like this phenomenon. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It gets really, really deep. But I said some stuff about baby metal in the video, and I got kind of slammed for that because I did research them. And they said, well, you didn't go deep enough and blah, 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 because they weren't actually just funded by this big corporation. Yeah, the producer was there, but the big corporate management company didn't want to do it. So we had to take them to malls, and they struggled their way up. It's like, okay, I didn't know all that. It's really, really deep. I think that's really cool. Who else did I find out about that I really liked?
Descartes Kant.
Descartes Kant from Mexico. Oh my God, love them. It's like an indie group, but I can't even describe them. They're so good. I love that stuff. And I also liked, not that they hadn't been around, but Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah.
Is it innovative? That stuff's been done before, but it's like they're redoing this older, like, Wrecking Crew, and what's the other one? A group of studio musicians, the Muscle Shoals guys. I think that's who they're talking about. But they are amazing, and I find that just like, so it's out there. And actually, most of the stuff that I'm finding that I feel is kind of like inspiring and innovative comes from people commenting in my videos telling me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm an old man. I should check this shit out. And like, thanks. And I go check it out. I'm like, oh, I'm putting them in my next video. So there's stuff out there. It's actually been very encouraging for me because I felt like, oh, we're losing our creativity. And then there's people out there doing stuff. There's people out there working really hard. I find, even with all the AI, the music business being kind of crap right now for making money, it's hard to make money. There's this really crazy enthusiasm for music now amongst people listening to it, but people creating music and trying different things and going out and doing it. I think it's like we're in a weird golden age, strangely enough, of music, even though it's all screwed up at the same time. It's kind of dystopian.
Justin says, Billy, you talk about how analog helps you focus creatively. Do you have advice for recreating that same mindset with a digital setup?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite because we're actually talking about this when Rehab was here, because in that video, I'm talking about, the rewind time and you got time to think. And then I'm here with Danny and I'm like punching in like that to the point where he actually got wigged out at one point and says, and took his headphones off. I'm like, I'm doing the thing I said I shouldn't do because I was so excited. I'm like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. It's like, let the guy focus. I think here's the thing. And I don't think I had this in the video that I made about analog, but I've been thinking about it a lot. And it was something that I actually did in one of my I do these Patreon live streams for small groups of people. They're called deep dives. So if you're on my Patreon, we'll go really deep into a subject. And I was talking about this because I was talking about my production philosophy. So I spent 2.5 hours or so talking about that. One of my things is that you have to finish your thought. You have to finish the idea. Meaning, if you start working on a song, you shouldn't stop for that day, that block of time, until you get all the way through the thought. Like, let's say you got a new song. Get your verse, get your chorus, try to get an intro and an end. Even if you don't have a great bridge, maybe just put something or leave a gap in there. But get through the idea, right? Or if you're working out a guitar part, and you got the verse, but you don't have the chorus, get through the chorus. It's very important to get to the end of it, because if you start breaking it up in too many pieces, you lose that flow, you lose your creativity. That was more of something we had to do back in the analog day because of studio time. There's a lot of things about technically using the tape and the whole setup and all that. You kind of needed to get it done. And also, like, let's say, it's because things could sound different, right? Like, nowadays with computers, like even like mixing, for instance, that's one good example. In the old days, like, you could have recallable mixers that would remember everything, but any outboard gear, you had to write it down. These little, what they called recall sheets, which was just a picture of your piece of outboard gear, whether it was like an EQ or a compressor, and you could kind of look at the knobs and kind of draw where they were. So if you wanted to go back and work on the mix, even if you had a board with a total recall on it, you'd have to go set all that, and it never sounded exactly the same. So if you had to go tweak a mix out, you could spend hours just getting back to where the mix was before, and then you tweak something. Nowadays with Pro Tools and DAWs, you get in the mix and you kind of like, and we'll go work on it some more, which I don't really have much of a problem with. The problem is if you start breaking it up into too many small pieces, you lose your inspiration, but you also start tweaking shit too much, And I feel like there's something about getting through a whole idea, right? And making sure that you finish that idea, you get it to completion. It was just more of a necessity back in the analog days for a lot of technical reasons. Nowadays, you can drag shit out for fucking years, right? I feel like that's one of the main things you could do. And the other thing is like, even though I said I don't take breaks because I get a little obsessive, when I'm working by myself, I do take breaks. It's different with a band in here because everybody in the band's individually taking breaks, and I'm fine with me being the power horse and going through the whole thing. But when I'm by myself and I'm working on something creatively, I take a lot of short breaks, very short breaks. I go outside and I got my tomato plants out back, so I go eat a couple tomatoes and come back in, or I might go check the mail or something like that, and that's it. Just to kind of break things up a little bit.
Let's see where to go. Yexus Realm was asking, did you ever hit a point in your life where you were extremely self-critical or something of the sort, and how did you deal with it?
Did I ever hit a point in my life where I was too self-critical? I guess the question should be, was there ever a point in my life where I wasn't too self-critical? I think everything I do sucks. I literally think all my mixes are messed up. And then I go listen to them like, I send them the client. They're like, it's great. I'm like, they're idiots. And then I listen to it a year later. I'm like, God damn, that shit is good. I am very critical about everything. And I think that is the truth of all artists. All the good singers I know think that their voices suck. I swear it's the weirdest thing. Like, you're amazing. Like, even like Danny Boone from Rehab. Like, I think he's a great singer. If I ever say anything about it, he's like, oh, I'm just hanging around the house. I'm just hanging around the house singing along with stuff. And, he's just, but how did I get over it? Is that it? Was that the...
Uh-huh.
I mean, you don't really get over it. I think the thing is, the key is, it's fine to be too self-critical, but you also have to know that some of that's imaginary. You've got to know that, like, okay, I'm kind of being ridiculous here. And you also have to move forward. You have to know how to let things go. There's an old saying, albums are never finished, they're abandoned. And I really thought about that. Like, I never finished a project that I felt was completely done. But at a certain point, like, I'm busting my ass and there's a deadline. Okay, it's not like there's major things done. On every album I work on, I just recently got done mixing a 20-song album for the infamous String Dusters, which is a kind of a bluegrass group. And I was wigging out of 20 songs. It was a lot. But there was just like, I had to get it done. And I kept feeling like, oh, maybe I could have gone and... And then there's a couple weeks or so I didn't listen to it. And I listened back to it. It's like, God, no, shit sounds pretty goddamn good. You just got to know at a certain point you got to move on or you'll never get anything done. You have to be willing to let things go at a certain point. But being self-critical and obsessing about it is partially what's going to make you good. So it's all right. It's all right. It's all right to like obsess it and freak out about this stuff. I'm freaking out every day. So
it's true.
Don't worry about it.
Marauder Music was asking, is ear fatigue when mixing something that you can build up an endurance for, or will it just keep getting worse as you get older? It's been killing me lately.
Well, ear fatigue can come from it being too loud. I mix at a very low level. Most of the time I'm mixing at a level where I could talk like this if you're sitting next to me and you would hear every word I said. I keep it at a very low level. Sometimes I got to crank the speakers up for certain low-end things, and I test the speakers and all that. That's one of the things. The other thing is your ears, I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but your ears will tune themselves, meaning, or it's your brain, I guess, if you're listening to something for a long period of time. Let's say you're listening to something that's got a lot of high end. After a while, you'll forget that it's got high end. It'll seem normal. And then you go listen to something else and you're like, oh, that's really dark. Well, no, it's just not that it's dark. It's that your music has a lot of high end. So it's another reason I take breaks. There's something about walking out of the room and going outside, and I can hear like the air and the cicadas, maybe a car driving by on the road. Or back in the day at my old studio, the TV was always on upstairs because I had that was the old studio I had at the house, and there was a B room upstairs, so the TV was always on in the living room because there was usually people hanging around. I'd walk upstairs and just listen to TV for like 1 minute, and it kind of resets your ears. I'm like, oh, that's another reason to take breaks. Another thing you can do is when you're working on a mix or something, listen to some other records. Hopefully you're listening to something that you're trying to kind of match the frequency for, but it's all right to listen to really different stuff. Just kind of go, oh, pff. And then you put your shit on and you'll be like, oh, God. Or you'll be like, oh, it's cool. But you just listening to the same thing over and over again and maybe soloing things up, listening to things on solo for too long. But it's not something you get over. A lot of it's psychological. But the main thing is, like, don't ruin your ears. Don't be mixing too loudly, Keep the volume down, take some breaks, go outside, listen to something else, and do that, and then come back. And it kind of resets your brain and your ears.
Let's see. Is there any chance you could take us through the signal path in your studio one day, introducing the hardware from mics to preamps and compressors to the audio interface and the DAW?
That's actually a good idea. I'm actually working on a video that's going to be a studio tour, but it's not going to be a studio tour like you've ever seen. Like a lot of times people just like, here's this. It's kind of this generalized thing. I'm going to show I've already filmed all the pieces of gear. There's going to be little stories about them. I'm going to show a lot of it's about how I set my studio up, how I think about my home studio. Like, why do I have a headphone jack right here? How come this light switch here for, doing videos is on? I have this whole theory about 1% improvements and thoughtlessness, right? But I didn't think about the idea of signal flow. I might put that in that video. That's actually a really good idea. Hold on. Let me write that down for my... I like that. It's going to be a long damn video. Signal flow in tour video. Yeah, okay. I could get into that a little bit. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It ain't too freaking crazy, but it's a good idea. But it kind of ties into the routing and the snakes around the studio. Okay, I'll do something with that in that video. That's a good idea.
And I'm skipping around a little bit, but
I am seeing some questions up further.
Mm-hmm. I'm skipping around a little bit.
Yeah, try to go back. I think we skipped some people there.
Well, you could, if you wanted to, talk about the difference between remixing something, remastering.
You can come in.
Yeah, I got to go help.
Oh, do you need to get your hair braided?
Where'd it go?
I'm not braiding your hair.
If, differences between, remixed.
Go sit over there. She'll stay off
I'll
camera.
come over there. Remixed, dance remixes and such, other types of remixing, remastering. What does all that stuff mean?
I saw the question. I want to make sure that I'm looking at the... Hold on. You're not...
But don't say so.
Oh, I lost the question. Hold on. I see that you're...
The difference between remixing and remastering, but also we're talking about, because they asked about dance.
I mean, there's different types of... So remixing could be you mixed a song and then the client says, I want to mix it again. Right? A remix could also be somebody's got a song and they give you the vocals and some of the instruments and you maybe make new music underneath their vocal. It could be both of those things. Mastering is something that happens after your mix is done. You send it to a mastering engineer and they, master your final mix. Remastering is typically something where, there's an older record out there and it came out 30 years ago and somebody wants to remaster it. These are just terms. They don't always mean the same thing. They can mean different things. I haven't really done much remixing in the style of taking somebody's vocals and putting new music. I've done it a couple times. That's a whole thing right there. Let's see.
Reagan...
I did one more thing that is that Gemini. Wait, I can't read this.
Genuini?
Yeah, because so the signal path, and they said introducing hardware from mic pre's, preamps, and compressors to audio. Yeah, and I was just gonna say, on some of my deep dives on my Patreon thing, I did have some deep dives where I went through every mic pre that I own and recorded the same thing to it and compared it. And it was very revealing. I mean, it was stuff I knew, but I'd bought some of these mic pre's and had not done something like that in years. So when I did it for the people on the Patreon live stream, it was oh wow, that's cool. Let's see. No, I don't have any thoughts about Wilco's
Yankee Hotel
Foxtrot. It's one of those things that I know there's stuff and I've listened to it. So many people have talked to... I'm going to write this down because now it's one of those things I should go check that one out and really dive in, and I just never have. Maybe one day when I'm doing some soldering or something like that, because sometimes I'll get on these things where I'm soldering cables for hours. I'll listen to that just to, it's one of those things that I've just never really dug into that one. Okay, I will check that out.
Y666, something like that, sixth. Anyway, says, hello, master. How do you start a recording when you are in a creative session? First the drums, then the other instruments over that?
Not always. And actually, that's a really good question, because back in the old days, you would typically start with drums, right? But then at some point, it started years ago, working in DAWs, like you'd have a client. Well, first off, I'll say this. I don't make demos. I don't like making demos because there's like this initial energy that's there. So you make the demo and then you go in the studio to do a real one, and it's never quite the same. So my demos are actually kind of the master. If somebody does want to make a demo, I'm like, please don't spend any time on it. Do it on your cell phone. I kind of want it to be really crappy. So we're never trying to recreate something. Let's save that for when we get in the studio. So what happens on a lot of projects is that we're starting a new song. We want to get the idea down, so we program like a basic drum beat. I think the kick should be boom, check, boom, check, or like boom, check, boom, check, boom. You know, we just program something right. Then we start laying some basic instruments over it. And in the old days, you do that, and then, okay, it's trying to make the record. Let's go back and redo it all with a band. Sometimes, if it's a real band and they really play together and they got this thing, cool. But I started doing this thing where it's like, we'd start putting instruments and stuff in there. It's like, man, I really like these parts. I just want to redo the drums. So I'd bring the drummer in later, after instruments and vocals and guitars and basses were sometimes done. And what was interesting is that it kind of flipped the script, meaning when you put the drums down first, especially in the analog days, that's what you had. Like to go in nowadays, you can edit patterns a little bit. But what's interesting is having the drummer come in later allowed him to react to the music a little bit differently. And I thought that was really, really cool. I mean, we were certainly thinking out. I'm trying to think ahead, like what might happen and where should there be a drum fill. So I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, there should be a drum fill. Don't do anything too fancy on the bass, because there might be something that maybe I'll have the bass player do some different takes with some fancier stuff, and I hide those takes. Then the drummer comes in. I'm like, actually, that fill would work there. But it could be any order. So like on the Rehab record, there are several songs that I did with a drum loop, like just programming some drums. And then the drummer came in and said, hey, play along with this. And then I'm like, oh, I'm replacing him. I'm going to replace I'm going to leave the live drums in and kind of replace the drum loop. Some of them, they're going to play together. On some of them, two of them, I had him lay down the acoustic guitar part to a click and then do the drums immediately with the mic still set up in case it's like, now that you're doing that, I still got that mic set up, jump back over the guitar and kind of replay that part. We did that a couple times, couple small punches. It's kind of like it can be whatever. It can be whatever order you want it to be. And you know, that does take some experience. I have enough experience, so I'm kind of thinking ahead about things without even realizing I'm doing it. So I can anticipate things and think about things. But to me, it can be whatever freaking order I want it to be. But it's just weird. I've heard about bands who are like, well, the drummer lays down the whole drum part to a click track without listening to anything. Well, I got the song memorized. I'm like, I mean, that's kind of weird. Shouldn't you listen to something? You know, I don't know. But you can make it in any order that you want to make it. My whole thing is just try to set it up in anticipation that you might want to go back and redo something. Like, obviously, do backups, get playlists. But like I said, if I've got a band here and we're doing a bunch of stuff, we're jumping around, and I'm not totally sure if that guitar part's done, I'll leave the mic set up over here. Okay, walk around the mic. Don't touch that shit. Or if I got to write down, we got to use that mic, I write down all the settings. So if I got to punch in, like, here's the mic pre, here's the compressor. And actually, during the sessions of the Rehab, I had a mic right here, and I was really worried that we're going to have to go back and redo some guitar parts. So I put tape on the floor. Actually, I still got one of the pieces of tape here. To mark where the stand was, I measured it with a tape measure. It's this high. And the chair was here, so that if he had to do it, and I wrote down all the settings, so if he had to redo it, he's sitting in the same exact spot, the mic's there, and the punching's going to sound pretty close. And so the mic sat there for like a day and a half. Finally, I was like, I finally took it out. Like, we're not going to redo it, but just in case. So that's you just got to kind of keep things like that in mind in case you got to go back and redo something.
What do you think people prefer more, creativity with errors or technicality but less fresh?
Is that a newer comment?
It's over on Twitch.
Oh.
It's from Good Malware.
What do you think people for creativity with errors or technicality but less fresh? I mean, I think sometimes people use the word errors in a weird way, like creativity with errors. Yeah, there's some mistakes in there, and sometimes they're beautiful mistakes. They're not necessarily errors sometimes. It's just kind of a feel thing. I mean, it also depends on the genre. I feel like sometimes like certain heavy metal is very technical. And I think sometimes people are focusing on that a lot. Like, for instance, Rush, very, very technical. I find that stuff very emotional. I don't know if that's because technically it was brilliant and it inspired me, or maybe there's feeling in the technical stuff. I don't know. I mean, some music sounds very technical and boring to me. I mean, I just think it depends on the genre, too. Like, I always thought of bluegrass and heavy metal as the same thing, except one has a lot of distortion, right? So in heavy metal, there's like a lot of technical prowess that's important. And they got to play fast. Bluegrass is kind of the same thing. And they both feel as important, but there's a technical aspect to it. Like when it comes to bluegrass records, I don't like to use click tracks, but I've heard of people, and I've only done, even though I got a Grammy for doing the String Dusters record, and people think like, oh, he's a really good bluegrass guy. I hadn't really done that much bluegrass. It's not like I spent a lot of time in that genre. I worked with those guys and a handful of other guys. But what's interesting is I found out talking to the people, like a lot of people when they make bluegrass records, they put on a click track, and then they go in there and do the parts one at a time. I'm like, what? Don't you guys tour together? Why would you ever do that? I don't like using click tracks. Luckily, the String Dusters are really good, and their timing is incredible. But it's very technical. I think a lot of heavy metal bands err on the side of technical, and there might be a good reason why they're doing click tracks for a lot of technical reasons, but I don't know. I don't know what people prefer. Fuck, who cares? I mean, I know what I like. People are going to like what they like.
Raygun Radio Star has a good comment on this. I think people want proficiency, not perfection. So that's kind of like, you know.
That's a really great way of saying it.
Let's see. Now, Zambi had a follow-up question to their last thing. Where should I start? Because they were talking about being a complete music newbie. Where should I start? Because I could pick up a guitar and go practice something for hours. I could learn covers of songs, or I could sit in front of a DAW and mess around for a while. But when I do that, I never really feel like I'm learning anything. So should I brute force it with the same route, or is there something else I can do for a different path? So I'm not entirely sure I understand the final question.
I hate to give you the bad news. It's just brute force all the way through. It's going to suck. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, do both. I feel like that's actually kind of an interesting thing because I need to practice more myself. So there's some days like I should just sit down here and do scales. And then I do it. And sometimes it's fun. And it's a good thing to do to kind of like get my fingers trained back into the things I need to do. But other days like I just want to mess around. Sometimes that's cool. Sometimes it's not cool. Sometimes I'm messing around and I come up with an idea and it's actually hard to play, so I have to teach myself how to play it so I learn something from it. But it's just like the main thing is that you're playing. I do feel like setting, if you want to get good, I would say that maybe spending 30 minutes a day just doing some scales, whether it's piano or guitar. Just do like a major scale, minor scale, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic at the bare minimum. And then you can start getting the modes and shit if you want to. But if you could do those four, you got major scale, minor scale, pentatonic is just the 5 notes from the scale, so you got major and minor. You're going to find most pop songs use pentatonic scales, right? If you just do that with a click track or a metronome and just do it 20, 30 minutes a day for a year, just that alone will take you somewhere. It won't be obvious at first, but it's going to get like muscle memory and you're going to start to figure out how to move your fingers, right? It's this very technical, dry bullshit thing. But you should just start to learn cover songs too and mess around and just make up shit. You should really do it all. At some point, you'll start to figure out what's best for you and what's going to work for you. But I do feel like you kind of got to mix up some dry technical crap, like or like maybe practice going. Another good practice would be try to figure out if you're playing guitar or piano, all the different places you can play a certain chord. Here's a C chord. I'm going to do the first inversion, where you take the bottom note and put it on top. And then you do the second inversion? Yeah. You take the third note and put it on top. You try all these different things. With the guitars, you're like, where on the neck can I play a D minor 7? All the different places you can play a D minor 7. Stuff like that. That's some dry stuff. And then just try messing around. And you'll figure it out. But the main thing is just play and just make up shit. It could even be stupid shit. Doesn't matter. But doing it often with a metronome or a click track would be a good thing. Getting the timing down would be great.
So here's a question that's kind of relevant to where you're at right now, Billy. What would be your next step if you made music for years and never really released anything? Would you upload it to SoundCloud or YouTube to check if it's good enough for release? Or what would be your step?
Good question, because I'm working on my album now and I hadn't released anything in a really long time. Me personally, it's going to tie into a video I'm going to make for my YouTube channel. And it's about my life and some things I've gone through, and that's going to lead into the first song. But for anybody else, I mean, like, load it up to SoundCloud to see if it's ready for release. I don't know. I mean, I would be more likely to listen to it in cars and all that. It's kind of getting opinions from people is weird. You got to be careful about it. Like, everybody's opinion isn't right. I know, because I know certain people, I'll play them something, and if they don't like it, I'm very happy, because if they don't like it, I know I'm on the right path because they don't like this kind of music. I know that sounds like a weird way to do things, but I think that if you want to put something out, you should probably like try to tie it to something else. Like, I'd make a lyric video and then maybe make a bunch of posts, like, 1 minute posts of like the hook, and you're doing it different ways and stuff like that. Try to tie it to an event, something like that. But in the end, you just got to get it out there. I mean, just dumping it out there without any promotion of any kind is kind of, I mean, do it if that's what you want to do. But I think you got to tie it to some sort of an event. I'm no expert on marketing. I think I'm understanding your question. Where was the question? Let me see.
DJG on YouTube.
Oh, I see it right there.
And I'm going to throw a link. You had that video about 4 random people you met, and it kind of goes into this whole journey, like you were, recording for yourself, and then, what you got into other stuff, and how the video wraps up at the end, I think is relevant. Yeah.
I mean, it's actually something I'm thinking about, because I'm working on music again. I didn't for years because I was working on other people's stuff, and now I've got most of them done. I'm kind of getting, I don't know, like cold feet. Is that the term? Cold feet? You got cold.
Cold feet would be.
Is that what the people say? Cold feet. You got cold feet.
It's like you.
What does that mean?
You had intended to do something, and then you kind of started to feel weird about it and anxious about it, and decided to change your mind.
But I'm definitely freaking out about it. But I got to get it out because I'm getting old, and and plus I'm eager to get it out. So I've been thinking about it a lot. I just got to take the time to make some lyric videos and stuff like that. But I have my YouTube channel, so I can link it to some stuff and things like that. But I don't know. It's a scary thing, because when you put your music out, it's vulnerable, and some people might not like it. It's a scary thing, and I get it. But you got to do it. Just get it out there.
Sup Mellow, just as an aside, points out that SoundCloud now uses their songs that are uploaded to them to train AI. So y'all probably should just keep that in mind if you're thinking about putting your music out.
This Q&A is probably being used to train AI.
Yeah,
right now.
I figured I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, walking out to the mailbox, AI is
we're
watching
on
me through
Google here
spy
on
cameras
YouTube.
or something. I don't.
Twitch is, I think, semi-independent.
Yeah.
Mark Hendrickson asks, why did you start becoming an engineer and a producer? Again, that video I just linked has a little bit of relation to that.
Because Todd Rundgren, because I was 13 or 14, and I really loved music, and I wanted to get into it. And I was actually going to these church meetings for teenagers through my local church. And it was kind of funny because at the time I was an atheist. Long, weird story. I was in this church. I was in the church band, 3 services a Sunday, and dedicated and going to all these teenage church meetings for teenagers that I was an atheist. But I just really liked everybody. I'm not an atheist now, but whatever. But there was this one family, and it was a married couple, I guess in their 30s, and we'd all talk, and it wasn't really super religious scripture stuff. It was kind of more just about life and stuff, and we talked about stuff, and it turned out he was a musician. I didn't know it at first, so after one of the meetings, everybody left, and we started talking about music. And he says, "Oh, I'm in a band." And we went downstairs, and in his basement was like a whole band. It was the first time I've ever seen any place, a room, with drums, a bass guitar, a bass amp, guitar amp, keyboards. He had a Rhodes down there and a PA system all crammed in this little room. And I was like, wow. I was like, you have a band. And they probably were just doing cover songs or something. I think they had a couple originals. We go upstairs, we're talking about music, and he's talking about Todd Rundgren. I already liked Todd Rundgren, but I didn't know. He's like, yeah, Todd Rundgren played all the instruments on this song. I'm like, wait, how do you do that? And he's like, oh, I didn't know. He's like, multi-track tape recorder, And so I started looking into that. And then, so when I was 15 years old, I always got into music because I wanted to be a rock star. That was the whole point of this damn thing. I wasn't trying to be a producer or a mixer or anything like that. I was supposed to be a rock star. But I wanted to make music, and I guess I instinctively knew it was going to be hard to get. Before I even knew it, I knew getting musicians together would be hard. Plus, I knew that I'm kind of weird and that people might be apprehensive to work with me because I was really weird when I was a kid. So at 15 years old, I got a loan through the bank. My parents co-signed, and I bought a 4-track reel-to-reel tape recorder and started recording to make my own music. And then other things happened, and pretty quickly, within a couple of years, I had an 8-track studio and borrowed more money. And it was all about my own music, but I was like, well, I figured out how to get good sounds. I might as well make some money. I had to make payments on the shit. Well, I'll start doing sessions to pay the loan payments. And then I got out of, I was in my parents' house, then I got out. I started living on my own. I needed to make more money. I still had my bands. But around the time I was in my early 30s, I had a bunch of bands. I had some record labels look at me. I'd gotten a good bit of airplay on college radio. I mean, it was a different world back then. We didn't have the internet. And I was just like, man, this is really hard. And I started getting more and more work as a mixer and producer, mainly mixer and engineer. I was actually producing without realizing it. But it's like, man, I just want to kick butt for a while. I want to make some money, and people hire me. And it's like, I slowly started working into doing that. And there was a point where I decided to put my music aside. It was a hard day. I remember the day. But I was like, I got a chance. So I was starting to get into rap music. And I said, I got a chance to be a superstar mixer engineer. And I was starting to produce. It's like, I just want to be really good at something. So I kind of put it aside for a while. That stuff came out of wanting to be an artist. And I kind of just picked it up on my own. So it was no decision to be, I wanted to do it, but more for my own music. Not necessarily like I'm going to be this guy who gets hired, So it kind of just worked that way, into that. And now after a short delay of a few decades, I'm getting back into my own music. So, but I'm still producing and mixing people. Hell, I got to mix. I got to get done next couple of days. Hopefully, the percussion player sent me the tracks.
Axel says you can't be that old. You only look 33.
Oh, great! I'm 34. So hey,
just a little bit of. We were talking a little bit about AI. I just said it's plagiarism on steroids.
Laura says, I uploaded a single track of Static Noise to SoundCloud because of their AI. Funnily enough, they didn't like it, and they muted my account. What if you went back and did the same thing, but this time you made the Static Noise go just random breaks? See what happens then. Kind of curious.
Be like, that's my song.
That's my song. Well, noise can't be a song? Oh, that's interesting.
Do you have any tips in making daily live stream creation for streamers or artists?
Any tips on making daily live stream creation for? Any tips on making daily live stream creation for streamers or artists? Are they saying that your streams are for streamers or artists, or as a streamer or artist, tips on making daily live streams? Not sure if I understand the question, but basically I think you're asking how to get more work done, I guess. I'm struggling with that because I'm just like slammed. I mean, it kind of ties into like the thing I want to do with my studio tour. I will say this, and it's the same with recording music, but especially for doing video, you got to make it easy. Like when I first started making videos, I had a couple ring lights, and every time I'd have to film in a different spot, I had to move the freaking light. And then I was like, I need to buy more lights. Like the amount of time it adds up. Oh, I got to move the light, I got to move the cable, I got to move the mic, and all that. And then I was like, and just even getting the point where like I got to go plug it in. It's like why I mostly have most of my lighting in one set spot. And I figured out you can see, well, that's a kind of crappy diffuser over there. That light's going to get moved, But I have like this light here. I got to switch here. This ring light, it's here. I figured out the right brightness and color, white balance. It's set and ready to go, right? And for my live streams, I have most of my cameras are semi-permanently set, right? And I'm going to buy more cameras so I don't ever have to move it again. The idea is that when you're ready to go, you're ready to go. I already know all the levels for my microphones and all that so that it's easy to do. But it's the same with recording stuff. Like I try to make things very easy. Like my guitar, if I want to like record a guitar part, I'm either going to go into this DI box. I got a Summit Tube DI there. But I've also got this little box right here that is like an old Tom Schultz sustainer thing. It's like a very old amp modeling type thing, but it's great for clean sounds. I'm going to go into one of those. I've got a guitar cable. Oh, wait, I got this. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Okay, yeah, so let me show you. So if I'm going to go and do guitar parts, I'm either going to go into this tube DI right here, or I'm going to go into this box right here for just basically. If I go into the DI, I'm going to go into the DI and then use some amp modeling, right? If I'm going to do a clean part, I'm going to use I love the way this thing sounds for clean. To make it easy, I have a cable. This is hanging right here that I can either plug in here, right? Boom. Or plug into here. Well, if I'm plugging into here, I'm just going into here, right? Boom. Okay, I'm going into DI. It's ready to go. And the other end of the cable is just coiled up under the floor. If I'm going to use this thing, I plug in here. And this cable's already plugged into the back of it. Now it's going into that. Boom, ready to go. Already got my level set. Boom. And my cable's like, well, you can't see it. It's somewhere. It's under the mixer here. And then I have like here, like I have, so sometimes, okay, I'll go to the room shot real quickly. Okay, so I'm still getting this one set up. So I've got a mic. Well, okay, check it out. Right here. Go to the front camera. I'm working on vocals off and on over this week. Boom. There we go, my Norman. All right. I like to sing sitting down. All right, let's do some vocals. I just got to go turn on the Avalon and distressor number 2, ready to go, right? And don't worry, the way I have this turned around, nobody's going to run into it and mess it up. This is my Neumann TLM 170 that I've had since the 80s. So that's ready to go. Also, okay, now go to the room mic, or the room camera. Okay, down here, now sometimes I need a mic here for doing guitars. I like to have the stand coming from the other side. And I'm trying to figure out how to get a stand. I could just leave her permanently, but I can't. But I've got a good quality mic cable. It's like a Mogami. I think it's a Mogami. Just called up here, ready to go. And it's run under the board. And I got a little twist tie, so it's not on the floor. And it hangs down right in front of my patch bay, which is on the other side. So if I want to put a mic here, this cable stays here. It doesn't freaking move. It's only here for that, right? Also, sometimes I want to do some MIDI stuff. And I wish I could leave my MIDI keyboard set up, but it gets crowded in here. But I have my MIDI cable right here. Well, it's supposed to be coiled up, but I just do it. So my MIDI cable's here, and it goes around back behind the computer, ready to go at any point in time, right? Point being, and my headphones are hanging right here, right? And there's a jack. I got a little hanger. I don't even have to look. Headphones are within hand's reach. Sorry. Right here I've got, you can't see it, but there's 2 headphone jacks here I can feel with my hands. The one on the right is coming from the DAW, right? Or actually it comes from my controller here. But it's the DAW basically, so it's like that. If I just pull it out and move it slightly to the left 1 inch, there's another jack that is coming off of the board that I can hear what the board hears, which is a little different because for the live streams, like on the DAW, the way the stream is set, I can't hear any of these microphones. Sometimes I want to hear, it's kind of complicated the way I'm doing stuff, but sometimes I want to hear what the board is doing, and sometimes I want to hear what the DAW is doing. They're two different things sometimes. But instead of going and getting this complete, I just ran headphone extension cables under there, and they're kind of using a staple gun and zip ties and other stuff. It's there. It ain't moving. It ain't moving. I can't even. It's turnkey. Same with the headphones in the room, right? And I know I'm. It's not exactly what you're asking, but I'm trying to make a point here. Let's go to the room shot here, and I'm going to go to my lav. Can you all hear me? It's not a great lav mic. So in the room here, at any point in time, I've got musicians in the room, and they just need to have headphones. So I've got this headphone power amp here, and I've got an extension cord here, and it's going into number 1, and it has a little piece of tape on it. Actually, I got it plugged in wrong. That's number 2. Hold on. I'm supposed to hear it. Somebody move that. Boom. So I got headphones hanging right here. So if I got some musicians, somebody's over here, like when Danny was here, I was like, here, Danny, you're number 2. You got your own volume, and you got some EQ on it. And then there's other cables. I've got these run over here. They can just pull them out, right? And I'm still working on this. But the point being, it's the same with filming or to create content of any kind. One of the hardest parts is all this damn cables. God dang it, cables and signals and lighting and white balance. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just trying to get that to be as turnkey as possible. Like, let's go to the room shot again. I'll show something else. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go grab something.
While we have our little break, I'm going to remind everybody, don't forget to hit like on today's YouTube live stream video. If you have not subscribed to Billy's YouTube channel yet, all of you on every platform, hop over to YouTube and subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification bell if you want to know when he goes live or when he releases a video.
Harper, I might need your help on this one. Go to the gear mic or camera. I call them mics, cameras. Okay. Before I show this, I want to explain something else. Another thing is, grab that and just watch that camera there. And so Kit is always sitting over here, right? So for the most of the time, I kept having to put a stand here. And for the live streams, we live stream all the time, so it's there, but sometimes it's got to move, and there's people in and out. And then sometimes I like having singers in the room with me, so they're going to be here, but I want them to stand here so this camera can see them. I got to bring another mic stand in. So finally what I did was...
Thank you, Tylo.
Hey, Kit, I'm going to climb up here real quick. Here, let me get over there. You can stay right there. I think I can do this. So, let's hope I don't fall. Oh. All right. So, I thought, how can I make this easier so I don't have to have a stand in the room getting in the way, and every day I'd have to move a cable around or whatever. So what I did was, and I don't know if you can get any closer here. So up here,
that's about as far as it goes.
this is, I'm going to, So this, you can see this part here, this is a cymbal boom stand. I've got these old drum stands. I cut this one off of a cymbal boom stand, and then I cut a hole in the fabric here, and I just, using pipe, what do they call it? Pipe clamps, attached it to the floor joist. It's really tight. Then I found 2 broken mic stands, because I'm trying not to spend any money, because this will add up. And I combined 2 different mic stands together to put this, so when Kit's here, and this stays in this position most of the time, right? But when Danny was here, I did this, turn this swings over here, I tighten that down, I put a Norman microphone on the end, boom, and Danny's there, and it's up out of the way, although you got to duck around it sometimes, right? And, oh, that mic's hanging down. So, but what it did is it's allowed me to, it not only freed up, like, some mic stands, but it made it just like, it's easier to leave this set up. Hold on, let me do this. Oh, I spun it around. Whoop. How's that?
That's fine.
And, you know, I wish there was an easier way to get up to it. It's just so high and I'm short. But it allowed me to, like, kind of just leave this set up permanently And here, just now stay where you're at. I'm going to walk over you. And and the cable's run. It's all ready to go. Boom, at any time. Like we can stream. And then if I have somebody come in, boom, it's like in a couple minutes. I don't have to go grab any stands. It's just there, right? Same thing with like the camera. So like point up here. So the room shot is coming from this camera right here. So this is at kind of right over where Harper's sitting. So for the longest time, I'd have like a lighting camera stand here, and Harper would have to move around it. And I'm going to show you the piece of gear. Harper, they can kind of probably see it up there. I was going to try to make something, and I couldn't figure out how to make it. So I finally bought one, and here, and I'll show you a better shot. Go ahead and, here, now this. Show this. So I found 2 of these, right? So I found these online. They weren't super expensive, but what it is, it's like you can put this up there, and it's made for putting lighting on your walls. But I found a way to, because I'm good with wood and all that, I'm attaching it to the ceiling. So this will pivot like left and right. It's kind of tight right now because I loosened this one up. It'll also go up and down, right? So like up and down. So what I'm going to do next is, you see that light right there with the diffuser? I got to make a better diffuser. I just threw some diffuser material over it right now. That's a flat panel LED light. I'm not using it right now. But sometimes when I'm working on a video, a YouTube video, that light, or I have another one like it, it's sitting over here. But basically, here, go back to the room mic, and I'll explain this.
I think your lav mic might be off.
Did my lav? Oh, sorry, I didn't even have the damn light. Did y'all hear that? Damn it, was I talking that whole time and nobody could hear anything?
Well, apparently there was the lav mic, but then it switched over to the handheld cam.
Check, check, check. No, I think somehow I muted my lab mic on the board by accident. I don't know how I did that. Did anybody miss any of that? Oh, thanks, Tylo. Well, I hope you're getting all that because I don't know where I left off. But anyway, go to the room mic. Oh, your room camera. Okay. Now, and I'm explaining something here. So when I'm making my YouTube videos that you guys have seen where I'm sitting at the board, I'm talking, I'm normally sitting here and my Blackmagic camera is there, right? But I need a light here. I need my flat panel light here with a big diffuser on it. And then if somebody comes in, I have to move that damn light over here, pointing this direction. Seems like a small thing, but having to freaking move the stand, move the cable, all this adds up. It makes it hard to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stand. I figured out where it's going to go. So if I'm making a YouTube video, the flat panel light will go on this stand, and it will be here. It goes right about there, right? The flat panel light will point at me sitting over by the board. If I need it out of the way, I just raise it up. It's out of the way. But if I got some other people in the studio and need the lights over here, I raise it up. And, whoops. Oh, I'm spinning the wrong way. Damn it, hold on. I'm going backwards. It'll raise up, and then it'll spin over here, and I just flip the light in the other direction. Now it's shining in this direction, right? Something I can do in like a minute, 2 minutes. But when I have the stands there, and I'm doing it with the stands and the cabling, it ends up being 10 minutes sometimes. All that adds up. The point being, if you want to make content on a regular basis, you have to make it easy. And like I said, it also pertains to all your microphones and your mic pre's and everything. When I had my old studio, The Zone, where I worked for years, I could have a band walk in and from scratch, without even before I pulled any mics out or set up any mic stands, I could be ready to get a sound check on a full drum kit in less than 30 minutes because I had my whole system worked out. I knew where everything, and I know how I'm slower here because I'm still figuring it out. I got to do more stuff. To me, engineering and all this crap is just something that I want to be invisible. I want to be creative. So you want to make the whole point of you're talking about making content, focus on the content. Put the initial effort, it's going to take some time, put the effort into learning how it all works, study it, but get it set down so it's easy. Like for instance, like even on my YouTube videos, I've got a little piece of paper over here, and as I'm exploring, it sits right here. So I'm working on some new lighting settings with these light panels. So it's like, Okay, the stand, there's a piece of tape on the floor. Eventually I'll have this thing, but since I'm still using the damn stand, there's a piece of tape on the floor. The light is at 59.5 inches high. The white balance is 3,300. And then the black magic is at 2,900 Kelvin. And then I put the tint on 3, and my aperture is at 4.2. And then as I tweak it, it's on this damn piece of paper, and it stays there, so I never have to think about it. And then sometimes, my black magic holds those settings a lot of times, but just make it easy. And I know that was a long explanation, but it's something I really believe in, that you want to make it easy. So that's the best advice I can make, besides just not sleeping and just like setting goals and all that. You want to, it's just so much work. Make that stuff invisible. Whew. Okay.
I was going to say, can y'all tell that this is something Billy's been putting a lot of thought, energy into?
I'm very passionate about it. I hate fucking with gear. I hate cables. Cables. Oh my God. I'm actually going to, the next thing is I'm going to route, especially after the rehab thing. I was just realizing I need to have some other cables that either go over, come around back, that kind of come back over here. It seems like a small thing, but it's God. I mean, during the live stream, I actually tripped over a cable that was plugged into Nate's micro Korg, and it yanked out of the micro Korg, and I was kind of freaked out. But when we stuck it back in, I broke the damn inside the keyboard on the mono output. It was my freaking fault because I tripped over the damn cord, right? Which it's easy to do. So during the live stream, at some point, I actually, other things I can't remember what was going on, but at some point there was a slow period, people were writing. So I actually opened up the keyboard and repaired it during the live stream. Anyway.
This harks back to you. We're looking at some of your gear there. The question was, how do you use the Twinfinity?
Oh, yeah. Let's let me get this cable. Let's go back to the gear, and it's back here somewhere. So I've been using this. I used it for bass on the rehab thing, and it's got this whole thing where if you dial this dial to the left, it's like solid state. Do it to the right, it's tube, and then you can mix it. And it's kind of funny because on one of my Patreon videos where I set up all the mic pre's and tested them all, what surprised me is that actually makes a huge difference. It's funny, during a session, I don't know, maybe there's just so much going on, I twist it and I'm yeah, I don't like that, and that's cool. But during the live stream, the Patreon Deep Dive live stream, I did some testing with it, and I was oh, actually the difference is way more. It's just in the context of being more analytical about it. But I found I kind of if I want a little more growl, I turn it to the right. But I've been using this mostly for bass. I've used it for banjo. What else did I use it for? Oh, we actually ran some keyboards through it a couple times, just kind of because, you can hit the tube and hit it a little harder, and it sounds cool. Or you can get a cleaner sound here. But yeah, that's mainly what I've been using that for.
Thank you so much, Ron Swex.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Let's see. A question. How did you meet Danny?
Oh, actually, that was through Fossil. Mm-hmm. So Fossil, who recently passed away, really recently, was a guy I met when he was in high school. God, it's such a long story. God. He was in a band with a bunch of other guys, one of whom was Jason Pittman, who did Party Like a Rock Star years later. It's so crazy. There are all these guys in the band, and then another one is my buddy George, who lives in Phoenix now and has 2 kids, and has always been a good friend of mine. Fossil was the guitar player in that band, and then he later on somehow got in Rehab, and then he hit me up and said, oh, I'm in this band Rehab. I'm like, oh, cool. Rusty Cobb had been a guitar player in that group, who's another local producer, and I was friends with Rusty. I was like, oh, wow, that's the group Rusty was in. So Fossil's like, come out to this rehearsal place, which was out near my studio in Norcross. It was just off 316, which is on the way to Athens. So I go out there. I was actually in this storage area, a warehouse area behind Shannon. God, I forget how his last name. The guy's got Colt Ford, that whole thing. It's the weird connections there. But they're rehearsing there, and I go and I meet everybody. I met Mike Hartnett, Danny, Hana was in the band. I think Lamar was singing backup. It was a big group back then. That's how I met them. Just started hanging out with them. And then, just one thing led to another. And then I ended up doing multiple projects with them. To me, the big one was Graffiti the World. I just think that one sounds really good, but I've done multiple things. But that was basically through Fossil, who, like I said, just very recently passed away, which is kind of sad.
Were you able to fix the microkorg?
Oh, I think so. The weird thing is I think I fixed it. The weird thing was I thought that the jack, a lot of those jacks are directly soldered to the motherboard. It wasn't that. I actually, how those jacks that go into the motherboard, it's like a plastic box, right? What had happened, it turned and it was tight. I broke the plastic. So it could slide out sideways and get off the contacts. So I found the broken piece of plastic, half of it, and I found another piece of plastic, and I super glued it, so basically it just stays in there. And then I did it, and we never plugged it in and turned it on to test it. I think it's fixed. I should probably hit up Nate and said, hey, did that fix work? I don't even know.
Wilmer's had a series of gear-related questions.
Okay.
What would be a good 2-channel mic preamp to power my budget ribbon mics with? They're T-Bone RB100s. I recorded my stereo Fender guitar combo with those mics, but the noise is unbearable, probably because I was using the preamps on my Avid MBX3.
Okay, wait, hold on. Where's the question?
It's quite a ways up, actually.
Up there.
It's over on YouTube, and it's quite a ways up if you're going to try to read
I see.
it.
Oh, I see where Tylo gave us a nice tip. Was it above that?
Yes, but not too far above
I
that.
want to like and heart. Also, Ron's. Okay.
So you'll see Wilmer up there.
Fatheads. Okay, it's above.
What would be a good 2-channel mic is what you're looking for.
Oh, what would be a good 2-channel mic preamp to power my budget? I'm not sure about not sure about the T-Bone ribbon mics. Okay. I don't know about 2-channel mic pre. I'm assuming you got 2 ribbon mics you want to power. The thing about ribbon mics is they need a lot of gain. Although my new Royer R12s are active ribbons, which are kind of a different beast. They don't need as much power. But most ribbons need a lot of power. And the problem is you got to crank the gain up. Sometimes that's fine. The weird thing about microphones, especially like specialized mics, is that they don't sound the same on all mic pre's. Some mic pre's are going to work better. I couldn't tell you a specific mic pre, but one thing you might want to look into is getting like they have this thing called a cloud lifter, which is basically a box that you plug your ribbon mic into that will boost the signal going into the mic pre with less noise. Here's one made by Royer that they sent me, and I've tried out a couple times, and it works really well. It's actually good for mics like this too. Like some certain dynamic mics have, like this sucker needs a lot of gain, and so does an SM7. So it's like sometimes I get noise. And although this is going into an API 512C, which I can crank the hell out of it, and it's fine, right? But I've used this for other things. So you might want to look at like some sort of cloud lifter. I couldn't tell you a specific mic pre. I haven't experimented enough. Every time I've used ribbon mics in the past, I was at another studio. I only recently got my own ribbon mics, like a few weeks ago. I got these Royers. And when I'm at other studios and they got ribbon mics, I usually just ask the engineer, what is a good mic? They know. They work there. So sometimes it's like something off the board. And you said that your... I don't know what mic pre's you were using. Yeah, it's probably just that you got it.
Was using the preamps on my Avid MBX3.
Avid MBX3. Hold on a sec. Avid MBX3. Oh, I spelled it wrong. I can't spell.
Cloudface. Thank you so much.
You see, what is that? Oh, that's like an M box. Oh, I have one of those, kind of. It's kind of an older unit. I don't know. I used one of those a little bit. I'm not sure what those pre's are like. I have a Universal Audio quad. Yeah, Apollo quad. I got one of the old ones. And I've done these things where I have like these really cheap little stereo mics, like old, like 1/8" jack stuff that my dad would use on his home stereo, right? I use those. They need an incredible amount of gain. And I've got nice mic pre's, but part of a couple videos I was working on, I was trying to show how to use them without any fancy gear. So I just hooked them up to literally going in the 1/4" jack on the front, like I'm plugging up a guitar. Or I might have gone into direct box. But anyway, point is, I had to crank up the gain all the way, and it was actually really clean. So these built-in pre's in here, they're not fancy or anything, but they're pretty clean. It might be your interface. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. You might look over at like, it's not called Gear Sluts anymore. It's called, they changed the name of it. Gear Sluts used to be the place. It's Gear something else now. It's a good place to go find out about gear. You just got to learn to ignore certain types of posts because there's stupid people on there that get all emotional about their gear, right? And then Reddit's pretty good sometimes. Luckily, I've got friends that I can call up. I just would hate to say anything because I don't know. But there is going to be a difference on which pre's react to ribbon mics better than others. And like I said, you might think about getting a cloud lifter. These little boxes. Royer makes this one. They call it the D booster. And then there's some other companies that make those. That'd be one of the first things I would do.
Demodden says, "Hi, I want to start producing and jamming faster techno genres with whether Electron Syntact or Digitact. I like the imagination of creating analog sounds, but I also want to use some vocal samples. Do you have an argument for me to make my decision easier?"
What was that again?
I'm not exactly sure what decision, Demodden, you're trying to...
Okay, hold on. What were the things he was mentioning? Is this a newer one?
Electron Syntact or Digitact. So this is in YouTube.
Okay, hold on. Electron. What the hell
see
is
them?
that? Sin. Obviously, I don't know what those are because I'm looking them up, but I'm curious. God, I can't spell worth the crap. Syntact. What was that? Plus, they spell things weird. Electron Syntact. Okay. Whoa. Hey, that looks kind of cool. Hold on. And let me get another one. And then the other one was Digit. Oh, boy. You kids with all your new gear? I'm an old man. I don't know. Hold on. Images. Okay, hold on. Let me pull these two down onto my screen here. Okay. What are these things? I don't know. That's the Electron Digitact. Oh, let's go to the DAW view. Electron Digitact. So this is a sampling machine here. Oh, looks cool. And then the other one is the Syntact. Kind of look the same. That looks cool. I mean, I don't know. Like, the question is kind of vague to me. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, nowadays, a lot of this stuff is just like, what do you like? You know, like, what do you like to use? I have no opinion on that. I don't even know what these things are. It's funny. I'm using the least amount of plugins I've used in 25 years, mainly because I'm busy, but I'm also trying to see, like, can I do more with less? I need to load in some more plugins. I got some people that come in with like the Native Instruments MPC thing where it's got the pad, but you can put all your samples in it, but you can try. It's cool. I should probably get one of those. But I'm still triggering shit off my old MPC just as a controller going into Ableton, and I just set up a drum rack and throw all my samples in there. I don't know. It's once you get into like, if you're getting into like techno and EDM, that's a whole other world and workflow that I got friends and they show me this stuff. I don't know, man. You just do what you like, man. There's no way to do it. It's funny, like I watch guys work and friends that are producers, and I'm like, that's amazing. They'll show me what they're doing. I'm like, that looks like the stupidest routing thing, but it works for them and it's what they're used to. And then I'll see another guy and he's doing it a completely different way, and they both do great work. I think a lot, especially with the way things are now, like once you're getting into that, we're not talking about, oh, this microphone, this pre and miking things and the right cables. Once you get into the EDM thing and using all this gear, it's kind of like, who gives a shit? Like, as long as you like it, like once you're in the computer, what does it matter? As long as you can make it work for you. I would say, to be honest with you, because you're like, what? Do you have an argument for me that would make my decision easier? When it comes to guitars, I could go to a store. One guitar might sound better than the other, but I'm going to pick the one that I like the feel of. I like the way it feels, because I've got a couple guitars here that sound amazing, but they just don't feel right. But there's one that I like to play. It's this red Telecaster back here. It doesn't sound as good, but I just like playing it. So I use that because I like the way it feels.
We have a question from a drummer here. What are some of your favorite cymbals to record? I play Zildjian K Thins, Master Sound hats, and a medium heavy ride. Just curious about recordability.
You must like loud music, because those goddamn Zildjian Master Sounds are so freaking loud. I've got a set of those. Okay, it's kind of funny story about the Master Sounds, and that is, cool. I've got my own drums and stuff here. I'm a drummer and not very good. I used to be a kind of, but I like having drums here for when sessions come in and I'll switch out stuff. And I wanted some better hi-hats. So I went to a drumming store, like Atlanta Pro Percussion back when it was around, and I just went around and hit hi-hats and picked the one I like the sound of. And I love the sound of the Master Sounds. I'm like, man, I got my hi-hats. God, they're so loud. And drummers tend to hit their damn hi-hats too loud anyway. I'm like, shit. I mean, I didn't really think about how loud they were. They're so loud. One of my favorite crash, I'd have to go dig around in the bag and see what it is. I can't remember the names of things. I did find, I think it was a pasty. It was like a medium crash or something like it. It's got a nice wash to it. It's not too bright. Funny thing is, like when I was recording with Rehab, and he told me the name of these hi-hats multiple. I can't remember names of things like that. But he had some hi-hats that were a little brighter. I will say Josh has got a lot of control over his hi-hats. He knows how to not hit them too loud. But it all depends on the genre and the song. I learned something from this drummer named Scott Meter. He's a really great drummer here in Atlanta. He taught me something that was kind of interesting with hi-hats, because I always feel like the hi-hats are too loud. He said, hey, man, try this. And we actually did this on a bunch of songs. You take 2 old beat-up crash cymbals that are a little dark and use those as hi-hats instead. And they're kind of big. And it's weird. It's like, oh, it's a little bit to play because sometimes they're kind of big, so the drummer has to kind of... But it was like, that actually works really good because they're not really loud. But I tend to like Zildjian. God, now you got me thinking about this crash cymbal. Hold on. Kit, say something. I got to go look in the bag. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Thank you so much, Sound Engraver. We're going to get to that in just a sec. I'll go ahead and tell you guys hello to everybody over on Twitch. Thank you for being with us. Make sure to give us a follow if you can, please. Also, I wanted to remind everybody that Billy does have a Patreon, and there's a lot of cool stuff over there that you can check out. One of the main things he's doing lately is twice a month a deep dive live stream where he'll take a topic on recording, mixing, or production and go really deep on it for our viewers. And it's almost like going to a course on that. So that's available. I think it's at $25 and above right now over on Patreon. There's crashing sounds coming from the other room. Grunts and crashing sounds. Also, there's some other cool stuff on Patreon. There's some samples you can download. There's some documents. Really cool thing about kind of a primer on getting set up in a home studio. Some pretty great stuff. Once again, I'll remind everybody watching, please make sure that you are subscribed to Billy's YouTube channel, Freaking Out with Billy Hume. And I'll also remind everybody that we do have a Discord. So if you're into that, go check it out. I'll throw a link up in chat. And there's a pretty cool community over there. So check it out.
All right. I don't know where the other crash cymbal is. I think it's upstairs. But my second favorite that I own, not that I know much about it, this is a Sabian AA medium thin crash, 16-inch. That's my second favorite crash cymbal that I own. The rest of mine kind of suck. I just like this one. But I've got one that does, you know how these have these ridges? The other one I like, I think it's upstairs. It's like a smoother cymbal, and I think it might be a pasty. My thing with cymbals in general is that mostly they're too damn loud. And it'd be different if the drummers could control themselves a little bit. But, there's no brand. A lot of it to me is kind of like getting it to fit in with the kit. And I think the problem with drummers is that they're all deaf because they're playing their drums without earplugs and ear protection. And after a few years, they start going deaf. So they're like thinking that their cymbals are like not as bright as they really are. They don't realize how loud they are. And I'm like, So that's why I have some thinner, softer cymbals around to like, hey, let's try this one instead.
Sound Engraver has a question, tipped us for it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You may have already answered this, but what live streaming platform do you use to record with all your instruments and microphones? Is it OBS?
Well, I'm using OBS for right now we're on OBS. I'm going through OBS right now. We're streaming to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I was supposed to be going to Facebook today, but I screwed up that's a new thing for me. I screwed up the process and made a mistake, so it didn't start, so whatever. I'm using OBS. I also have, and so that's on the PC, which sits over here. I got a Mac here. Everything goes into my board, and then my PC gets so on the board, my music from the Mac. If we were working on music now, this would be like the return from the DAW out of my Mac. This is right here is my 421. Here's my lav. Here's Kit's microphone. And here's Harper's microphone when he actually decides to speak. Say something, Harper.
Hello.
There he is. And then during the session, so that's for streaming. And then all of this gets sent out of here, my master fader, like I'm mixing a show, to the PC. But when I'm working on music videos for my YouTube channel, I use OBS on the Mac, and I've got my Blackmagic camera set up here, and it all goes into OBS as well. It's a great platform. There's a couple things I'm kind of trying to figure out how to do better, but for dang free software that allows me to do it, it's pretty damn amazing. But I'm using OBS now.
There was a question back to drum recording. There it is. Rick said, I'm recording drums this weekend. Thinking of a stereo ribbon overhead. Should I use mid-side or Blumline? Is Blumline
I've had,
figure eight?
a couple things. I mean, depending on the kind of music I was doing, I don't know if I'd use ribbons for overheads.
Although you did just now, didn't you?
No, I use ribbons for room mics.
Oh, you're right. Never mind.
I wish I had that other Earthworks mic working. I actually used Omnis for overheads for a while. Kind of crazy. Okay, first off, I've had a couple people send me drum overheads that were done in mid-side. And I thought I just seemed stupid. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're not doing it right or whatever. And I like spaced pair because I get a wider stereo image, right? I just like them. I know where I want the damn mics pointed. I know I want one kind of over here, over the ride cymbal, and then and the crash cymbal over there. And I want here, that's kind of halfway over the hi-hat and the crash cymbal. I've tried XY. I haven't tried mid-side, and I'm not an expert on it. And I was actually watching a couple of videos about it, and I think a lot of people are doing mid-side wrong. And I got to go and look at this again because this guy was talking about an extra step, and he says this is what everybody gets wrong. I can't remember what it is now. Mid-side for overheads just seem weird to me, unless you're going for like this kind of like ambient sound. To me, the reason I'm using a lot of multiple mics, if I'm doing a thing where I'm miking drums and I got a kick mic, a snare mic, a tom mic, an under snare mic, a hi-hat mic, I'm doing all these mics. The whole point is the definition, right? To get each instrument. And then I'll use room mics for the ambience, right? However, if I'm only doing it with a handful of mics, I've done this thing where I use just 3 mics, the old 3 mic technique, which actually can work really good in certain genres. But generally speaking, I'm sure people have done it. I haven't used ribbons as overheads because I want to get the ting, the high thing, which a ribbon is, it's going to smooth out the sound. You could, I guess, if maybe it's a jazz thing or something. I don't know. I never really thought about doing it that way. I've used ribbons as front of kick mics, room mics, and stuff like that, but not as overheads. But I don't know, if it were me, well, the thing about a ribbon, too, is their figure 8. That's another thing to consider. So if I was going to use ribbons, what's Blumline again? I forget what that one is. It's some spacing thing. Man, I would just stick them over the left and right. One thing you can do, depending on what's going on in your ceiling, like my ceiling where I'm doing the drums, it's really high. So by the time it bounces back, it's negligible. But if you got a lower ceiling and I'm using ribbon mics, for instance, like if I'm using a ribbon mic on a fiddle and we're in a lower ceiling, I'll just take a piece of foam, like closed-cell foam, and I'll just put it on, like I'll use a little clamp or something, and I'll put it over the backside of the mic. So it's not so much of a figure 8 anymore. It's going to muffle that side and mainly pick up the front. So you might consider that, depending on the room. But if you're unsure, you could always just, experiment with all of them and record a little bit and just try it out. Like give yourself a little extra time. I mean, it's a good question. Give it a little extra time. Try all the settings and record them. Have the drummer play the same thing and go down and listen to them and go, I like that one. That'd be the best way to do it.
Rick says basically XY is Blumline.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
And then Christian recommends the AEA R88 ribbons for overheads.
Yeah, I haven't tried those yet. Those are supposed to be really, really, really good mics. So,
Jones Henry had asked, what is the best way to make your acoustic guitar and drums sound soft and like they're underwater?
Wow. That could mean a lot of things. I mean, one of my favorite things to do with drums, if I want them, I guess, soft.
Did they say drums or guitar? I thought
they said drums.
Did I
guitar.
just say drums? Hold on. I got to find the comment again. Acoustic guitar, honey.
Wilma's referring to referring to Pro Tools as slow tools.
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Oh, acoustic guitar and drums. Sorry.
Okay. Underwater. What is it? To make drums sound softer, you could throw towels or T-shirts over the drums. Although in a weird way, that can kind of make them sound punchier. Underwater. I don't know what that means. With acoustic, I will say this about acoustic. The mic choice could make a huge difference. Like using a ribbon mic on an acoustic is definitely going to mellow it out a lot. Small diaphragm condenser is going to be great for attack and detail, but that's not what you want. Large diaphragm condenser, it's a different thing. Also the pick. Using a thinner pick will do this thing where you get a lot more of a ting on it, but it's softer. You don't have to compress it as much. Whereas a thicker pick might give you a rounder sound. A pick can make a huge difference, the thickness and the shape of the pick. That might be something to experiment with. I'm not sure about... Yeah, Cloudface is saying a low-pass filter. I mean, it might be something to just record the drums and do it later, I would say make sure you're not just doing spot miking, close miking. It sounds to me like maybe you want some room mics out there because that's going to give it more of a rounder sound. But it might be something like just EQing it, putting all the drums to an auxiliary return and doing a low-pass filter and doing some weird shit like that to it.
C. Jason Thwaites had a silly question. They said, if I may, do you sleep with your rings and chains on? I find I can't sleep with rings on.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to come back to that. Oh, so that bonsai panda, underwater drums, like how Glass Beams records their sound. I don't know who Glass Beams are, blanket over snare. That's kind of what I was thinking, like literally just throwing a blanket over the snare drum. Funny, that's what I did when I was a kid, because I just like to, I didn't know, and I was like, oh, I like this dead sound, so I would like just throw something over that. That might be something to try out. Just mute the hell out of those damn things, Sorry.
That was just.
I leave this ring on. This is my wedding ring, but I can't actually we got to look into this. I can't get it off anymore.
We can have it resized.
I gained weight in my left ring finger. I got to get this re-signed. I can't. Wait, here it comes. I can get this one off. Whew. Anyway.
You could wear it on a different finger if it works better.
No, this is the wedding ring. Now I have 2 rings here. This is my Buddha ring. One of my kids bought for me. It's got spinning Buddhas on it. I wear that.
It's a great fidget
But
tool.
I definitely take it off at night, although I forgot the other night. This is my Alex Abraham ring. I named it after him. I bought this in Charleston when I was hanging out with Alex Abraham, who was a drummer that I met, and I got a whole video about him. He was part of a project, and
I'll
we
put the
became
video up.
very, very close, and he committed suicide before the album was done. But he wore a lot of chains, so I got an extra chain, and then I bought this ring right before he died. And then I got another chain recently, and I actually call this my Alex Abraham chain. And but I do sleep with them on, mainly because I forget to take them off. Although they get stuck in my hair sometimes. So, but I think as time goes by, you're going to see me get more chains. I never thought I'd be wearing 3 chains, but life changes.
Sound Engraver was asking, have you ever recorded violin or fiddle? Do you have any recording or mixing techniques to make it a bigger, fuller sound?
Done a lot of that. I have recorded. Fiddle's a weird thing. Actually recording a fiddle in certain ways is like recording a vocalist. A good vocalist will do this thing where certain vowels, certain words will just suddenly like be a sharp note, like shitloads of like 3.8K, 4.1K, somewhere in there. It's just like this weird thing. It took me a long time to figure this out. And you'll think like, oh, they're harsh. It's like, no, they're not harsh all the time. It's like every 5 or 6 words, you just hear this thing. And it's this thing that all good singers do this. I don't know what it is. So I use like Pro Q3 or something like that. And I just do a dynamic EQ and find that frequency and I'll knock it down like 5 or 6 dB. Fiddle's the same way. You'll often find a fiddle and it sounds really good, but on certain notes, on certain parts of the neck, if they're hitting a little harder, it's going to suddenly be kind of harsh. So, a ribbon mic help. I love ribbon mics on fiddles. I have used AKG 414s. I would steer away from a Neumann. Most Neumanns. There's actually it's a U something that's weird because you always think of U whatever number in a Neumann as a large diaphragm condenser. There's a small diaphragm condenser Neumann that is a U something, but it's actually a great fiddle mic. I can't remember the name of it. So, but I wouldn't use like a U87 or anything like that because Neumanns tend to have that high end up there. You could also use a dynamic mic, like if you've got if you don't have a ribbon, you could try like a Sennheiser 609, or like a 441 or something like that. But ribbon to me is the thing to use. And like I said earlier, that if I'm in a smaller booth, I might put a piece of foam behind the mic because it's going to be figure 8. I want to use a mic pre that's going to be like, I'll use something that's a little navy on a fiddle, which means it's going to be like a more softer, fuzzier sound as opposed to like an API, which has got like a faster attack on it. And then I will compress going in a little bit, not a whole lot, but like 4-1 with a medium attack, just to kind of knock it down a little bit. Then when I'm mixing it, I'll hit something like an LA2A plug-in emulator type thing because that's got a nice slow attack on it. And you'd be surprised if you really want to level out the fiddle. You can actually compress with something like that pretty hard and it's fine. But one of my favorite things to do with fiddle, if I'm in Pro Tools, I use a plugin by Massey, and I'll go ahead and pull up Pro Tools here so I can show it. I'll tell you when I'm ready, Harper. But there is a plugin in Pro Tools by Massey called Tapehead, and it's a tape emulating plugin. And it's funny because to me, it's not like the best tape emulating plugin around. There's other ones that do a way better job of sounding like, oh, this sounds like an Ampex or a Sony or, Studio or whatever. This plugin, I don't know how to describe it, but I use it on fiddle all the time and sometimes acoustic guitar. It does this nice thing where it kind of like warms it up, kind of knocks down the transients a little bit, but it gives it this nice low mid-range hump to it, which is freaking amazing. And let me just see if I can open up something here. I'll just open up this. If I don't have that in Pro Tools, and then by the way, that all the Massey stuff is Pro Tools only. Doesn't work. It sucks, but they only make it for Pro Tools. But if I don't have that, I will actually sometimes use their lo-fi plugin and just barely turn up the distortion. Just like, oh, stop. Getting weird. I just realized I'm opening up a session with a ton of tracks on it, so it's taking a minute here. But hold on, okay, so the plugin I was talking about is this, just so you can see it. Whoops. All right, so, hold on. Why is it going so slow? Hold on, I got it. It's popping up on this other screen. Hold on, let me drag it down here. I got a million screens in here. Okay. This plugin here is one of my favorite plugins I use it on, I'm on bluegrass stuff. I won't use it on every instrument because I want to, I don't want everybody going through the same thing, but it's definitely going to go on fiddle. I've used it on dobro. I've used it on acoustic guitar. I've used it on banjo. I use it on banjo and fiddle mostly. And usually I just put it on, that's it. It's got this bias thing, which will add a little bit more high end into it. You can drive it a little harder, sometimes backing it off, but it's just amazing for fiddle. It's just like, whoa. If I don't have that, if I didn't have that, I've also used this. And I show this plugin all the time. People are like, we're sick of looking at this plugin. This sucker here is great for a million things. And let me zoom in a little bit. But all you want to do, don't touch anything else. Just use that. The highest I ever go with this is maybe to 0.5. But under here. But you'd be surprised. This kind of accomplishes a lot of the things that people use tape emulators for. You don't need to buy that shit. Just use this. I swear. Just start trying. That's all I'm going to say. Just start messing with that. If I'm in Ableton, I'm going to use, they actually have a saturator plugin in there that's really, really good. And you can just barely turn it. That's all you need. Because actually, that's kind of what you're looking for. A little bit of saturation, and it kind of takes care of a lot of the compression on it and stuff.
Can you say the names of the plugins again?
Oh, sorry. It was Tapehead. Hold on. Let me bring it up again.
And Submellow says Massey actually made an AU version of Tapehead. It's just on the medium setting.
Oh, did they? I used to have this thing. I had some weird hack plugin or something. It was like a plugin that I could use in Ableton. Then I could load in some of this stuff. But that was a few versions. It didn't work anymore. So I had Tapehead in Ableton for a while. I mean, I'll look into that. I mean, the funny thing is I put this plugin on there. I never touched the knobs. It's like, sounds good. And I move on. So there's that. But so far, like I said, it's except for what they're saying, Pro Tools. Then the other thing you can try is in Pro Tools, go down to this. I don't know why they call it lo-fi, because it will do this lo-fi thing, but there's other plugins that do better thing of lo-fi. I don't touch anything on here except this distortion knob, and I barely turned it up. Sometimes this will be on vocals as the last thing in a chain, although you got to put a de-esser after it because it will accentuate all your essing. I've used it on acoustic guitar when the acoustic guitar just doesn't seem driven enough. I've used it on fiddle. You can use it on drums sometimes. But this to me is like one of the most powerful plugins in Pro Tools. And you barely need, I rarely go above one. It's always down here. And you'll be like, whoa, hey. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Just saying.
Now, even the Cats Left had a question, which you kind of already touched on a little bit, but they said, I tend to record vocals and acoustic guitar first, and due to my not so brilliant playing, my song ebbs and flows around the tempo. My question is it a done thing to play drums to the song after?
No. Okay.
No, not dumb, done. So yes, it is done sometimes.
Wait, what do they say?
Is it a done thing? Like, is it something that is done?
Oh, done. Oh, yeah. So everybody's like, oh, you got to have a click track to play drums to. I have this thing about click tracks. There's a difference between using a click track and playing with a programmed drum part. When you're playing with a programmed drum part and you got to get in tempo with it, when the song's done, the audience, the listener, hears the drum track. That's what you are playing to. When you're using a click track to guide everybody, but when the song comes out, nobody hears the click track. Meaning, there is something that everybody was listening to while the record was being made or at early stages of the record that the audience is not hearing. There is a ghost in the song. And you're like, what are you talking about? Well, what happens with a drummer is as they're listening to the click track, if you actually look at the waveforms against the grid, you'll see like he's a little ahead, then he gets on the beat, and he's a little behind. He's a little ahead. Sometimes it's a small amount, but he's constantly adjusting to this click track, right? As somebody once said, we've got the click track surrounded. I thought that was brilliant. It's like, it's a small amount, but he's changing his tempo based on listening to like clank, 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 clank. Ain't nobody going to hear that when they hear the record. So there's this ghost element to it. If the tempo's going to go up and down, it should be a natural thing that happens because maybe sometimes when you're building up to a really heavy chorus, you actually will slow down a little bit. Like, dun, 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 pow! Everybody should do that together, right? You can program them to a click track, but you're still following this thing that doesn't exist. I just wanted to say that to begin with, right? So if I've got a band and they got halfway decent talent, I'm going to try to record them without a click track because it's going to be a more natural sound. And the other thing that's interesting is, and I figured this out a few years ago. I had done this project with a piano player and singer, Angela Wolf. She actually got Morris Day to come in and play, not Morris Day, Morris Pleasure. Mo Pleasure. Who's an amazing piano player and multi-instrumentalist. We hired him to come in. She had a budget. And they recorded these songs. She would sing, and he'd play piano, and I had her in a booth, and he was there. And they didn't use a click track, partially because she would do this weird thing, like she doesn't know anything about music. She just plays, right? So she'd be singing. Sometimes she'd suddenly like sing it differently, so there's like a 2/4 measure. She like literally dropped 2 beats. But he could just follow along, right? So it's kind of weird, but it felt great. So we did a few songs like that, and there was not going to be any drums on it. And then I got into one of the songs, and like, this thing needs a loop. But I couldn't program a loop. So what I did is I just pulled out my MPC, and I was just hitting the pad. So I just went through with like the kick drum, like boom, 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 or whatever. Then I went through and I did some shakers, and I thought it was going to be really hard. The weird thing was, and then I was overdubbing other parts. It was way easier to do it with no click than to try to do it with a click because I realized I'm just listening to the instrument. So I can pick up the cues. You can tell when somebody's off, unless they're terrible, you can tell when somebody's going to slow down or speed up. There's little clues like, oh, here he goes, he's speeding up, so you just follow them. But when you're playing with a click, you're listening to, on one hand, you're hearing clank, 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 and then you're hearing the rest of the band, and they're kind of drifting around. So you're like, where am I supposed to be? I've done plenty of projects where we added drums later on that did not have a click, and it was all over the place. And a couple times, we had to stop and punch. Oh, like at that point, that snare drum's always got to be late. Just remember, he's going to drag right there. So you got, But you'd be surprised how easy it is. And there's no reason why you can't do it. I've done it before. When people ask questions like that, should I or shouldn't I? I'm like, hell, I don't know. Just try it out. If it doesn't work, there's always the erase button or delete. Doesn't hurt to try. But yes, it is a done thing.
I will say this: we're about a quarter past 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. You're keeping me on track.
Working on it. Lydia Violet did have a question. It's kind of related to some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, but they say, "Hey Billy, what advice have you got for somebody making their first song?"
Sorry, I was reading a comment about Mike Oldfield. What now?
What advice have you got for somebody making their first song?
Have fun. Do what you love. Have fun. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Just make sure that you like it, and then get it down, get the idea down. But don't be afraid to go back and redo parts if you think they can be better. Record everything. Don't delete anything. Ever. Ever. If you get an idea and you put it on your phone, drop it into your DAW and put it in the session so you have it there. If you're working in a DAW like Pro Tools or Ableton or Logic or whatever, and you put down some ideas and then you change your mind, don't delete anything. Just mute it or deactivate it, because a lot of times in those early demos, in those early recordings, there's something there that's really special. Sometimes it's just you phrase something different. You sing it like, instead of going da 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 on the first version, you went da da da. You know, you did a little different, and it's like, that's actually better. But you'll forget about that. It's crazy like how small things like that can make a difference. But my key thing is record everything. Don't get rid of everything. Document it. Save all your lyrics, even the old ones that you think suck. You never know. But mainly have fun and don't freak out. Just have fun with it and enjoy the process, because your joy and how you feel about it is going to come across more than the stress in trying to get it perfect. Just get it out there. Oh, thanks, Tylo.
Thank you, Tylo. Go get some more coffee. I wanted to let everybody know, I did drop a link in chat to, you were talking about the EP that you did with Angela Wolf and Mo Pleasure. The only place I think she has it is on Apple Music, but I did drop a link, and if you guys can listen to it, you should.
Hey, actually, who was asking a song about writing their first song? Okay.
That was Lydia
Hey,
Violet.
Lydia Violet, I hope you're still there. I want to play something. I meant to play this earlier. So we did this live stream last week. Actually, I do need to stop this. I'm getting my sore throat now because I'm just talking constantly. So last week, I don't know if you saw any of it. I had the band Rehab in here, and just off this, it was like 2 a.m. on the 7th night of streaming, crazy amount of hours. I asked Danny, who's the rapper and the singer, who is an absolute songwriting freaking genius. And it's funny, I've known him for like 25 years or something like that at this point in time, maybe 20 years. Like, how do you write songs, right? And he was like, how do you come up with your lyrics? And he had a couple things to say, and I caught it at the end of a stream, and I want to play that. I actually want to ask him more, but he had some really cool things to say about how he comes up with the lyrics, but also how he gets the words to sound together. So I'm going to play that because it's like one of the coolest things I've ever heard, and I meant to play that earlier. So let me come over here and grab that. I want to use, it's this one. So guys, so I was playing the mics around, so just let's not talk. All right, so here we go. This is Danny talking about writing songs. And the reason we all seem like we're drunk is because, well, we might have been drinking, but it had been after a 12-hour day. So just keep that in mind. But I like what he says here.
But yeah, I don't know. Just never. I try to a little bit go against the grain. Sometimes the lyrics have more power if they don't sound like they belong to the song, but they still work. And then I have a lot of fun with words. I like it. I like to think about them as I'm saying them. You know what I mean? And whether it be from if I'm speaking from a certain position, like this last song with the computer, I'm talking from a computer's point of view, or AI, or the internet, or whatever. On Welcome to the End of the World, you don't want to ask questions. You just want to tell people something because you're a computer. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so try to do the best you can, man.
There's no doubt about the fact that there's a divine inspiration in something that is in your head, the way your head works. But you have techniques. So like when you said, sometimes using words that you wouldn't normally would fit in the song actually gives it more power. That would be like a technique or a quote-unquote writing trick, right?
Right.
Do you have any other techniques or writing tricks or things that you use that you can think of?
I think about consonants and syllables and how they fall in line with each other, like the word hullabaloo.
That's a
Is
great word.
that shit flows hullabaloo. And you just think of things like tapestry, baptistry, you know, just and then you can compound that into different things. Just like sometimes you could just get the front of a word, like neurologically magical logic, and it'll be the the jick and the jick or the neurologically magical logic evacuated phony form fellatio, even bitches opening up to see their fallopians, you know, and it's just different things and different. It's just O's and eats it. Like it don't even have to be. All you gotta do is emphasize the right part. You know what I mean?
I never thought about that. I like that.
And people talk in cadence, no matter what you do. If you're in New York, you know, people are like, hey, what's that? You know what I mean? You know, stereotypically. But in Georgia, we talk like, man, I don't understand what motherfuckers be tripping on. And then it's like, man, I don't understand what motherfuckers, you know, it's just like, it's just talking. You just got to damn have the squares to put these pieces into, you know what I mean? Then you learn them. And then, but what's really dope back in the day is I used to know all my.
Oh yeah, and then he goes into this whole other thing. And actually, while I'm here, I also want to play. It's a little off subject of that stuff, but this is Josh, the drummer, talking about some things with drums. It's 3 minutes long. I figured while we're here, I'll play this one too.
And even open hi-hat work, a lot of us drummers get excited, and it's cool to have a big sound, you know, but you can also control that dimension of sound with your foot, just slightly opening it up a little bit, and the attack of that right-hand note, the ghost note, there's so much power that comes through that and what it does for that song, for that particular section. And what I love about Billy, what he does as a producer, he hears that, and I can be like, hey, do you like that? Do you want to do a little bit more of that or a little bit less of that? And so there's, yeah.
I just got to say, I hate hi-hats. Like, if I had an anti-hi-hat microphone or effect, I'd do it, except for... Because most guys, I think we were talking about this at dinner, like, so many drummers, the hi-hat is just, it's like something to keep time with. No,
Right.
The hi-hat is a fucking voice. And you're like one of the few guys I know that's like, got the kick and the snare, and there's this other kind of conversation going on. I mean, they're all together, but the hi-hat, it's its own thing. And you're one of the few people I know, like, actually, I got to be honest with you. I've asked multiple times, hey, can you, like, make your ghost noting louder? And some people can and some people can't, right? You're the first person to ask me, should I make my ghost noting louder before I ask? And it's like, God, I've never had anybody ask that. Because I think a lot of people doing it and they're not realizing they're doing it, which is fine. But if you want to say, hey, can you get your ghost noting up? And they've never thought about it. What am I doing? And then they're thinking about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really like that about working with you, that you can do that.
What sets me apart, and definitely from any phase I've been in my career and my advancements as a drummer, is letting go of that fear of going for it. And you've encouraged me with that so much. Like, you know, the first song, pre-production, we just got off tour. I wanted to go home so bad, but I didn't. You know what? And I believed in myself, and I believed in you, and you believed in me, and we went for it. And look at what happened on 3 different songs, you know? I could have been like, you know, I can't do this. My idea is not good enough. I haven't played guitar in 2 months. I don't have my calluses on my finger, and I'm just going to let that, like, downgrade. But no, I didn't do it, you know? Regardless of the mistake, there could be everybody in the world looking at you. Believe in yourself and don't give up. And, like, that kind of impact. And also, like we talked about, there's a quote that I saw that Vinny Colaiuta said, and I believe Billy has was it a YouTube video about it, where he talks about how the thought is the enemy of flow, and he's an amazing drummer, can sight read anything. So somebody that
Well,
can
I wouldn't talk
conceptualize
about Vinny
things.
in particular. I was talking about the speed of thought.
Different thing.
You brought up, and I brought up the speed of thought and how thinking is a bad idea. Yeah, so I and that led into a whole other thing, like the speed of thought. Geez, I've actually got a YouTube video about it, and then we end up talking for like a long time about thinking in the studio, and you don't really want to think and whatever. But anyway, I just thought that'd be a cool thing to play for everybody. No, I have not heard cymbal silencers called sim pads. Huh. Might look into that. That's interesting. I did have when Dave Anthony was here and we did that long live stream and we went through the whole thing about miking drums and tuning the drums. He actually had these little moon gel things for cymbals that I'd never seen before, and that was actually really cool. These little circular sticky things to stick on the cymbal, and I was like, oh, that's actually a great idea. I never thought about that before.
So I figure we'll try to wrap up a little bit. There was that. Let's see. Oh, I did want to point this out before we move on. Michaelis Robinson said, hey, I'm collecting footage for Alex's father to keep for his family. Was wondering if you had any additional footage I could add.
I might. So can you email Kit? And it's nothing I can.
I was muted.
Oh.
The
Well, I'll read it. So
Okay.
Michaelis Robinson is saying, hey, buddy, I'm collecting footage for my friend Alex's father. Alex is the guy I was talking about who died. And I got some footage because there's that interview. I'm sure you've seen the video. And
I linked to it earlier in the chat.
Yeah, to keep for his family. Was wondering if you had any additional footage I could add to it, my friend Alex. Okay. Yeah, I do. Hit up Kit at Contact Billy Hume and put Alex Abraham in the subject thing.
line,
It might be
yeah.
a minute. You'll need to send me a hard drive because I have a lot of footage. There's a whole interview. One of my kids interviewed him too, and I think that's in part of my video about him.
A
but
little
there-
bit of it is in the video, yeah.
There might be some more from it. And I think I just got some random cell phone. I got a bunch of stuff that didn't make it in the video, and I'd be happy to just throw it all on there. But you're going to have to send a hard drive because it's way more stuff than I can send, online. So if you want to get in touch with us and send us a hard drive, I'll dig through and see what I can find. Because I got a lot of stuff from him. And there's actually a couple little conversations. It's small pieces. Like there's parts where you hear us talking in the control room and all that. And there's a lot of stuff of him just drumming, and you can't really hear the music because we're just walking around in the, did that at Echo Mountain. I think about that dude every day. But yeah, just contact us. Contact BillyHume@gmail.com and we'll take care of you.
So yeah, we did have a question from Gilbert Ortega, and then I think we'll be looking at wrapping up. Gilbert Ortega asked, how would you mic a 4-piece kit with only 4 mic inputs, 3 dynamic and only 1 condenser?
I might do something like 4 mics. I'd probably do like 1 out front. I'd just put 1 in front of the kick or in the kick, depending. 1 on the snare, 2 overheads. Probably good enough, I might think about the overheads. The toms could be an issue. You might have to mess around, but that's kind of what I would think about doing maybe. I don't know. The kick is the main issue when you only have a few mics because all the other drums, their heads are pointing up. The kick drum's like this, and you want to get that low end. So I'd stick definitely 1 mic out front. It'd probably be like, I used to do that back in the day. So it was like kick, snare, and like a couple overheads, and I would kind of think about where I'm putting them. I might get them a little closer than I normally would if I had tom mics. So that would be the general idea. And you're just going to have to experiment with the placement to get them right.
And then I guess kind of to wrap up, Ishmael asked, have we discussed Ozzy's passing yet?
No, we didn't discuss that. It was a shock. I was surprised because he just did that concert. I had a Instagram post and I talked about this, and it's that the first song I ever played with other musicians was Symptom of the Universe by Black Sabbath from their Sabotage album. And I was like 13 or 14 years old. I was playing drums. And I found these guys somehow, and I went over to their house, and they only played Black Sabbath music. And I was like, I don't know anything. So I had a neighbor, somebody had that record, so I learned the song. It was loud. Oh my God, these guys were so loud. But that was the first thing I ever played with anybody, right? And then I really got into them. And there's a lot of cool stuff on that album. What's crazy about Black Sabbath, everybody thinks about Black Sabbath as like, oh, this heavy metal thing, which they were. But if you listen to that album and some of the other ones, man, there's some sections of songs that you would think was like a hippie band. Like it was like there was some stuff that'd go off in this other direction. You're like, am I listening to Focus or what? Or you said Jethro Tull? Was that the other one?
Yeah, Focus and Jethro Tull were the two that I had
It's
guessed.
like that early stuff, man. There's some cool stuff on there. And at that stuff, and even though that kind of music wasn't like a big deal for me, it really affected me. I mean, it wasn't like a main thing I was into. I was doing other stuff too, but listening to that record and being in that band, like the first band I ever played in, it kind of really affected me. And Ozzy, Ozzy was Ozzy. Yeah, to me, I think he was like he's one of the few. A lot of people have written about this concerning him. He was a rock star who didn't necessarily act like a rock star. So many rock stars are just like so full of themselves. He was always very real, and you saw who he really was. He's a genuine person. And even though they called him it's funny that they called him the Prince of Darkness. He always came off as like, he seems like a really sweet guy to me. Yeah, okay. He supposedly, was he the one who bit off a bat head or some weird shit like that, or pigeon head?
Yes.
I don't know, whatever, man. But it's like, you just look at his face, especially the younger pictures, it's like, why were they calling him? He looks like a nice guy I'd want to hang out with. That's how I always thought about him. Fun guy. And I think the other thing that's amazing about him is that last concert, most people would never want to show themselves being in that condition because he had to stay in the seat. He couldn't control himself. He had to be, I think, strapped in because his Parkinson's made his legs move around, and he was in a lot of pain. I heard a recording he made before the video, and he was talking of the concert. He was talking about he had quit taking his painkiller so he could be sharp for the show. So he had to have been in pain. And I think that the fact that he wanted to do that, to have that last show, and regardless of what kind of shape his voice was in, his whatever, I think I don't give a damn how he sounded or whatever. And to me, it wasn't, people were like, oh, he sounds terrible. It's like, he sounds like a guy with Parkinson's singing, but it's not that bad. It was pretty good. I just think that's amazing that he did that for his fans and had one last chance to do it. But I was just surprised that he passed so quickly after that. That was kind of a shock. I guess it was way further along than we realized. But yeah, I've thought about it a lot. It's kind of emotional.
So I think
he's gone home.
I think we've gotten everybody. I tried to make sure I got everyone in. I wanted to say thanks again to everybody who has joined us. And thank you so much, those of y'all who have tipped or followed. And if you can, go subscribe on the YouTube channel. Bloor specifically asked if I would pimp Billy's Blue Sky, which I will throw a link up. Billy actually hasn't started using it yet, but if you want to go check out his Blue Sky account, I'll throw that up. So yeah, I mean, there's not much going on over there yet, but there will be. And
the other thing is, and I want to say thanks to Casey for modding, and also to Harry Stark, who's been on this thing like a madman. Thanks so much for the help. Also, I've had people ask how they can help my channel, because I've kind of reached this point where there's only so much more I can do. I'm trying to get 100,000 subscribers, and there's a lot of other things I'm trying to do. One of the things I'm struggling with is getting chapters into the live streams. Like, chapters are when you watch a YouTube video, they can see and skip ahead. And if anybody wants to help, this is an easy one, helping us put, especially this last week with Danny. And it doesn't have to be every little detail. It's just too much shit. But if I could get some help with time stamping those videos, we're like, okay, we started doing guitars here. You can leave out the other dumb shit, but because there's a bunch of shit, it's whatever. But if anybody wants to help, time stamping my live streams would be, I just don't have time to do it. And if you wanted to help, that's one way you could help. And if you want to be involved, and I do have other things I need help with. If you're interested in helping the channel and helping all this grow, just hit us up at contactbillyhume@gmail.com, and we'll follow through with that.
think that's about it. So yeah, make sure that y'all like today's video on YouTube. Make sure that everybody here is subscribed to Billy's YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell if you want to be alerted when he puts out a new video or goes live. We're here pretty much every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, just like we were today. Occasionally, you'll get the Fly on the Wall live streams. We just wrapped an epic week last week of recording with the band Rehab.
7 days in a row.
7 days in a row, and some of those streams went 14 hours. It was a lot. It was pretty cool, though, and it's an amazing opportunity, these Fly on the Wall streams, for y'all to get to sit and watch a recording session as it unfolds, raw and live. Well, at this point, you'll have to watch a replay, but it's unedited. And you can really pick up a lot about all sorts of things having to do with recording, and in this case, with a full band.
And I'll probably be doing some live streams over the next couple of weeks. I have to do more guitar parts and other things on the Rehab song. So if I kind of get going and I feel like I'm in a good space, I might it'll be one of those things where I just start live streaming. So just kind of keep an eye out. That might pop up where I'm doing some just guitar overdubs and stuff like that if you want to watch. I've got a lot of work, and sometimes hey, if I'm here working, I might as well stream it. Sometimes I'm mixing, sometimes just doing overdubs or making weird sounds or whatever. So that happens sometimes too.
And I guess the last thing, if I remembered, don't forget the Patreon. There's cool stuff over there. I linked it in the chat. And then we do have a Discord, and I'll throw that up as well. Pretty fun community over there. Billy and I aren't there that much, but Casey keeps an eye on things for us and a couple other folks. And there's a great community there. You can go share things, ask questions, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, and I actually have a little commercial for this, but forgot to play. But I'll just say it now. I do private consultations. People always ask me about it. I typically will do like these Zoom things and can talk about, I got some people are asking me career advice. Some people are asking me to help them with their OBS setup. Sometimes it's mixing. Sometimes they want me to listen to their songs and kind of give them some advice. So if you're interested in doing that, once again, you can hit us up at contactbillyhume@gmail.com. And I do a handful a week. I don't do a ton, but we can get them in there sometimes. And if you're interested in just doing a one-on-one with me and talking about stuff and want me to listen to something or whatever, just hit us up. We can do that. All right. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. It's been really awesome. I will be back next Wednesday, and look out for the random live stream that just pops up once in a while. It'll probably happen over the next couple weeks. In the meantime, everybody, be good to each other, be cool, be happy, and be unique. See ya. Take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5, take whatever.